And we are live.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen. Attention, ladies and gentlemen. You have now boarded the PM and the PM hype train. That's right. The fun speculation hype train has obviously rolled through your town on a Thursday night, and you already boarded. But we have a special announcement to start the show. That's right. We added a couple cars full of new people to the Fun Speculation Network. That's right. Thanks to the one and only Bold Alpha Wolfpack getting us started early. He got on the court and said, you guys ain't starting at no Mach 2.0 tonight. You guys are going to start at a Mach nice, easy 2.5 if I got anything to say about it. He got on the court with an easy 10 dunk. Flushed that sucker through with a bag of coal. We got the furnace burning hot. So choo-choo, motherfuckers, strap up. Get those 4-point harnesses buckled down because Mach 2.5 early to start the show. Welcome, everybody, to a Thursday night. Thank you, Bold Alpha Wolfpack, for that. Another episode of PM and the PM Pong and Mav in the PM on a beautiful start to spring up here in Minnesota. At least it's finally getting warm, finally done with the snow, and things are looking up. So you guys all know the drill. It is sunny out. So sun's up, shades on, everybody. That's right. Keep that going. Be safe out there while you're driving. You guys are looking amazing in the chat, but I want to get to my co-host here, who is extremely busy at the moment with real life. If you guys don't know, Caitlin did make it public. So just real quick, Caitlin's dad is in the hospital with I would say critical situation, but getting better on the mend. But obviously that puts a lot of stress out there. Didn't even know if we were gonna have a show tonight because I was like, Mav, hey, look, I know how this goes. There's a lot going on, but he is here. So I want to introduce my one and only brother from another. The man, the CEO of the Fun Speculation Network. Mav, what's going on, brother? How the hell you been outside of the obvious, brother? And again, blessings to you and the family and continued prayers. Glad to hear he's doing better. But how you been outside of that, man? Or what do you got to say, man?
Thanks, man. Actually today, it's a positive day because, things could have went one way or another. And right now it's seemingly like things are going the right way. So spirits are good here. I want to say it to everybody who commented on social media, on Twitter, wherever, and wished well to my wife or to me about my father-in-law. Thank you so much. Every piece of energy out there definitely helps. Does whatever, and I think things are great. So we may not have a show next week because we might be going to Boston. Which is where he's at right now to visit, as long as we're able to and stuff like that with the recovery. I don't know the complete situation, but that's pretty sure that's what it's going to be like. So we may not have a PM in the PM or may not have a ultimate or probably not even a FSP that following week. But I just want to, I wanted to do the show tonight for sure because for that reason as well. But thanks to everybody again. You guys rock and things are good right now. So that's awesome. He's starting to wake up from surgery and stuff a little bit. So yeah, we're all gravy right now, man.
Brother.
Yeah,
it's good, brother. Again, totally understand. Obviously been through it myself and it's never easy. No, especially when you're far away and Caitlin, being a daddy's girl, as she said online, it's it's rough. It's energy. It's draining. It's nonstop. So just all love to you guys. So happy to hear that he's doing so much better. Have you gotten to play any games or anything, man?
I've been playing Balatro, a little bit of Dragon's Dogma, and what else? I don't even know.
That makes no sense, bro. Whatever.
I feel like I have been playing some games, but I besides Dragon's Dogma, I don't even really can tell you what they've been. I did something that's interesting is Kate just asked me to install Fallout on the Xbox in our bedroom.
Nice.
So
we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It was randomly. She didn't know about all this stuff. Even the main topic before this, I think before I even mentioned what we're talking about tonight to her. So she asked me to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
love to hear it.
She's been playing House Flipper too. She got that.
Yes. Yes, let's go, Caitlin. House Flipper 2. What does she got? She's probably already flipped and sold like 12 houses at this point, so she's probably not sleeping. She's probably freaking just a maniac right now.
Yeah.
House Flipper 2, yeah, it was pretty funny because I had thrown that out on because of course me and Steel do the upcoming week of games just like you guys do on FSP last Saturday, and I had made a mention. I saw her tweet to me that that thanks for the shout out, and I had totally forgotten that we even talked about House Flipper 2. But it was coming out this week, and obviously
Yeah.
a lot of people I saw. I think Sergeant Sentinel popped up out of nowhere. He's like, I like House Flipper too. So it's just funny, man. Those little games that nobody thinks about, but obviously we all know about it because Caitlin is an addict on that game. So awesome to hear that she's got a new game to try out. And because that's what's all that matters, really, about gaming, is you got something to play. So exciting times for House Flipper 2. Yeah, my week has been all Dragon's Dogma 2. So again, sorry to be boring, everybody. It is what it is. Games of the year, games of the generation, GOATs all time come along. We've seen to have gotten a couple, at least over the past 2-3 years. But this is what happens. It's Dragon's Dogma 2 all day, every day. I'm going to reinstall Fallout 4, obviously, which we're going to talk about before April 25th. But yeah, no, other than that, that's been it. I have hopped in a couple other games here on PC as well, because I did pick up a Humble Bumble. Not a bundle, a Humble Bundle for the publisher D3 After Dark Hack and Slash series, which had games like Oni-chan Bara, which I introduced Steel to because I've talked about it on Living Split Screen. And he actually bought it. He bought Z2 Chaos and actually posted some video of it, loving it. But these games, what's a couple of the other ones? Oh, God, I don't even remember their names now. They are Eastern flavored games with a lot of fan service.
What do you mean by fan service?
Half naked women and even
I
beyond
thought that's
that
what you meant.
as well. Oh, yes. It is, again, I've played some of these. Some of these I have not that were included in this bundle. So I've popped a couple out and I'm like, oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. This is more than what I was expecting. And I've played some, again, you guys all know I love Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball. So I've played some, right, in my day. So, but yeah, I've been having a little fun with those hack and slash type games, shooter games. They're just fun. They turn your brain off. Just enjoy the scenery and kill a bunch of shit. It's fun as hell. So yeah, but outside of that, just Dragon's Dogma 2. Again, can't stop playing, won't stop playing, won't stop taking pictures, won't stop posting pictures. The game is absolutely phenomenal. Got more to do, got a lot more to do in that game. But yeah, looking forward.
I was playing Dragon's Dogma, and just there was a fight because the random enemies show up in town. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my pawns were fighting some lizards in town. And accidentally hit some people.
Only so you, man.
So
you got the guard.
But then just the random civilians start coming up. My pawns just start mass slaughtering all the people in town. Then the guards start showing up, and before I know it, there's just this mass graveyard of bodies in the main town. And I'm like, well, I'm probably gonna need to have some of this stuff here, so I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Well, you can go to the crypt and you can resurrect.
There was too many people.
Well, you could have just done the main people.
Yeah. I mean, you had grandmas coming up, trying to fight you and stuff. I'm like, stop swinging at me. I don't want to kill you, but if you keep doing it, I will. And she didn't stop. So there was it's the way it is, man. I don't know.
I love games like this. I do, man. It's just the randomness is what adds to it, man.
Yeah.
So basically you have slaughtered an entire town.
Yeah, and I was in the market. That's what it pissed me. That was what it was upsetting. I was in the market area. I was just trying to shop for some armor and stuff, and then all of a sudden, Everybody died.
Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden, everybody's gone
I just
because
bought.
you had
I literally just bought something from this dude. It was where I had a friendly conversation. Hey,
yeah.
you're my friend. Hey, it's cool. I'll be back and do business. The next minute, he's swinging his cane at me, and I gotta slaughter him.
Did you at least take everything off their bodies? Did you?
No, I actually turned the game off after
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't even. I always like to look when that happens just to see if there's anything interesting that pops up that you can take off of a body, right? That you wouldn't
Yeah.
normally get just because that normally doesn't happen, right? Man, you're a killer. Stone cold, man. I mean, I like how you blamed it on the monsters, but we probably know the truth. It
Yeah.
probably was just you starting the fight. You probably got pissed at the shop prices.
Yeah. I felt like it was like Skyrim, and I failed like a pickpocket or something.
Right.
I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Of course.
But that you can scum save, you know what I mean? So like this can't do that. So
right. Nope. So what are you gonna do? You shut it off. Did you start back up again? Did it didn't overwrite your save?
Not yet.
It's probably already overrated your save.
Probably so. Yeah,
Probably so.
Seems to happen in this game because the last time I got arrested, and then I tried to fix that, but then I reloaded in jail. So
I have not been arrested ever in this game. I've never accidentally or in any of my pawns killed townspeople. I have purposely killed some of the random adventuring parties that are out in the world that you will come across that aren't actually enemies. I've actually attacked them because that's what I do for the experience. But I've never had that happen. I don't know what it is about you and your freaking games, bro. You have the most random shit sometimes happen.
Well, I am a thief, so.
Well, yes, I understand that. And normally I am in games too. Again, that's my forte. So, well, that's Dragon's Dogma 2 basically in a nutshell, because that shit happens out in the wilderness where random shit will occur, and all of a sudden you're battling a couple goblins, and next thing you know, you actually have an army of monsters not only fighting each other, but fighting you on top of it with griffins and ogres and all sorts of shit showing up randomly out of the blue. And all of a sudden it is a freaking chaotic battle scene. Love this game. I can't tell you how much I love this game. It is beyond what anything I expected, and more. It is just unbelievable how great the exploration is, how fun the world is. Just can't stop playing, man. Just can't stop playing. So yeah, that's been my week. Brett Bingham, I did see the list that you sent. That is something we actually covered a couple of Ultimate 2 weeks ago. I started doing the list just off the top of my head, and it was already insane. So I appreciate you sending that list. He sent the list of first and second party games announced or rumored to be in development, and obviously it's ridiculously long. I would like to know, Brett Bingham, I would like to know, sir, where you came up with Halo Wars 3. What rumor have you heard of Halo Wars 3? I would like to know where this one came from. Now, I put out a post just speculating, right, that World's Edge, we know, is now working on another game, according to Jez. And obviously I said, hey, whatever it is, if it's New Age, if it happens to be Halo Wars 3, if it has to be StarCraft reboot, bring it on. But I'd like to know if you've seen something more on Halo Wars 3, because that's something me and Mav obviously are all about. And I have not seen anything about that ever. That's even rumored in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, this is a pretty hell of a list you got here, Brett Bingham. Most of the stuff I did talk about in Xbox Ultimate when I ran down. It is insane, the list. Oh, he did put StarCraft in here too. So we're not only getting Halo Wars 3, but we're also getting StarCraft too. Yeah.
There's
Brett, I hope that's right.
Too.
Yes,
so
there is stuff on there.
Yeah, there's definitely even more. There's quite a bit more than that.
Yeah, so Brett, appreciate you, brother, sending that on through. Again, we can't stress enough how much stuff is coming. It's stupid, just from Xbox and their dealings. Shout out this amazing chat. Let's go. Let's set out this amazing chat. We got the Pixel Slapper joining us tonight. What's going on, Pixel? Great to see you. We've got the Coach Hooded Canuck in the chat. What's going on, Coach? We got the Brett Bingham in here. What's going on, Brett? I got the Bold Alpha Wolf Pack. Thank you, brother. We got the Sanchez MTZ Gaming joining us, of course. We got the Poison Maniac always here. We got the one and only Nate Dogg in the house. What's going on, Nate? We got, who else? The Game Adaptation Newscast. What is going on, Game Adaptation News? I'll just call you GAN. The GAN. That'll work. I'll just shorten that up there. We got the brother from another, Steel Rain, in the house. What's going on, Steel? Great to see you. He says he was a thief as well and had no issues, Mav. Shocking. We got the Depka in the house. What's going on, Depka? We got Charlie Hustle in here. What's going on, Charlie? Who else we got in here? We got the BT Maverick 707. Great to see you. We got Sean T joining the show this evening. Thank you, Sean T. We've got the beautiful one and only Miss Caitlin, the better half of Mav, in the Caitlin in the Chatlin. No, man, I just can't speak after work sometimes.
Caitlin in the Chatlin.
Caitlin in the Chatlin. In the chat tonight. All love to you, Caitlin. Again, you already know. Talos Ray is here. What's going on, Talos? We got the Jason Max in here. What's going on, Jason Max? We got the one and only RSJ fan in the house. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Good to see you. We got the Black Card A here. What's going on, Black? We got Moggs E in the house. What's going on, Moggs? Always good to see your name popping up. We got the Siki in the house. What's going on, Siki? Great to see you, sir. We got the Wilfrey Rosario joining us. What's going on, Wilfrey? We got the Andrew Cullinane in here. What's going on, Andrew? Always great to have you a part of the show. We got the Lad in here. What's going on, Lad? Let's see here. Oh, just glitched. There we go. Now I'm back on track again. Let's get through that. Ghost Fixter's in the house. What's going on, Ghost Fixter? We got Whoop Whoop Mustard in the house. What's up? Whoop Whoop Mustard is in the house. I'll say it again. Whoop Whoop Mustard's in the house. What's going on? I love mustard, by the way.
Me too.
Great to see you, Whoop Whoop. I love condiments in general, so I'm a condiment freak.
No matter what kind of condiment, just
not really. There are some that I don't like, obviously, right. But I generally have more condiment than I do food most of the time. Yeah. So I will drink condiments. So it's just my thing. All right. Anyway, Froggy T Right is in the house. Good thing I said condiment correctly, by the way. That could get very weird. Why So Serious is here. What's going on? Why So Serious? Great to have you a part of the show. Joker 2, by the way. Trailer. Yo. Maybe we'll have to take a minute because, my God. Who else? We got the Mr. Waffles in the house. What's up, Mr. Waffles? Great to see you joining the show. We got the God Emperor Sofa King in here. We got the Isaac Hayes 85, of course, dropping in. We got Game Shark joining us. We got the one and only Sin in the house. We got General Spartan 27 dropping in the chat. We got Dion Hayes. I don't remember if I said you, Dion, but you're there. We got Xena dropping in the house. Food is for condiment delivery. Yes, in many ways. I agree. All right. Who else? We got a cute perspective in here. We got the E Ranks in the house. Of course, Far Q is dropping by. Thank you, Far Q. We got the Scorpio in here. We got the ADM. What is going on? Ketchup out of a needler. I'd do it. Let's go. I'd do it in a heartbeat. Love me some ketchup too. Although it's got to be Heinz. I don't like Hunt's because Hunt's doesn't have a lot of sugar in it, and I do need the Heinz sugar. I know that's not real ketchup, but I don't give a shit because I like the sweetness.
You guys up north and stuff are missing out, bro. Let me hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want the best ketchup or the best mustard, there's one place to get that. It's Whataburger.
I love Whataburger. And I've been down to Texas. So I've tried Whataburger. Whataburger is delicious.
They sell the mustard and the ketchup in the bottles at the store, right? At the grocery store too.
I gotta say, I didn't really know a difference.
Oh, dude, it's so different. I
guess I would have to try it plain to know. Probably.
You dip your fries in it, you'll instantly be able to. Oh shit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will have to try that next time I'm down your way. So, C problem on point for complaining. What's going on? Texama's in the house. What's going on, Texama? Great to see you as well. Yeah. Mav, let's take a side track right here. It's always the beginning of the show. We're everywhere anyways. Joker 2 trailer. Foil Ado. I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly. Again, I haven't. Is it Foily Ado?
I don't know. I think
it's foil. I think the E's. I could be incorrect. I haven't taken French since high school, which was a long ass time ago, 30 plus years ago.
It was Folie. Is it Foile?
I thought it was Foi. Foilia do. Maybe it's Foilia do. Okay. All right. Anybody French in the chat? Let us know.
Speakers in the chat, please let us know. Is it Folie or Foil?
Yep. Stanley Francois. I see you in the house.
Come on, Stanley Francois.
Francois. Come on, Frizzle. I see you too. Magnum. Yeah, he would be.
Come on, Stanley Francois, give us the answer. Let's go.
All right. So obviously, Mr. Phoenix, Lady Gaga, who I'm not a fan of, by the way. Don't like her at all. But obviously, Todd Phillips. It's Todd, right? Or is it Tony? Which one is it? Todd, right? It's Todd Phillips. Right? Director? Todd Phillips. Yeah. You guys know I don't do a whole lot of movies or TV anymore. We're going to talk about some TV stuff, Fallout. I'm not interested. But again, I don't do a whole lot, but there are some things that I do catch up on through the years. I did see the Joker as soon as it came digital all those years ago, the first Joker, because I thought it was a fantastic idea. I can do superhero movies that are cheesy. I can do superhero movies that are out there. I don't have a big interest. The character has to be an interesting point to me. Joker's always been interesting to me. And I thought the take from the trailers, the seriousness, again, like a Heath Ledger will always be my favorite Joker. Love Jack Nicholson as a Joker. I've liked most of the Jokers. But I just thought Phoenix was going to do an incredible job when I watched the first one, and obviously love the atmosphere, the cinematography, just freaking awesome. Turned out being just an amazing movie that I fell in love with. Joker was absolutely incredible. Take it for what it is. I can do these movies that aren't straight comic book adaptations if they're trying to tell a different story. It works sometimes, and this one did. Now, when Joker 2 was announced, and I heard that Gaga was obviously going to play Harley, you guys all know I love Harley. I wasn't so sure. Then I heard that they were going to potentially, it was going to be a musical. I'm cool with that. Again, I'm one of those guys. I'm kind of eccentric in my likes and tastes. I like musicals. Not every musical, but I like musicals. At one point in my life, I was actually going to be the manager of a actual theater that put on musicals at one point in my life. So not everyone hits the same way, but I've watched plenty of musicals in my time frame. So I was like, okay with it, but I was like, how is he going to do this? And then, so we've been waiting a long time to see what this was actually going to be and how it was going to turn out. And then, he did some interviews where he talked about, yes, it's 15 songs. I believe he said there's 15 songs that the movie is centered around, but that he's not straying far from the original formula of the first Joker. So I was like, okay, all right, cool. Trailer comes out this week, Mav. And obviously everybody was waiting for it and knew it was going to be divisive, knew there was going to be people that hate it no matter what. There was people that hated the first Joker. We know the whole narrative around the first Joker anyways. They tried to kill the movie before it even came out. This trailer, Todd Phillips is taking it up. Like again, the vision on this dude and how he sees certain scenes and how he shoots certain scenes and the perspective he puts on through the camera for the viewer. There are very few out there. There are some special people out there, but I gotta say, just from the trailer itself for Joker 2, my God, Mav, I was blown away. Again, the meme, this is cinema or whatever, applies here in all forms. I trash current Hollywood a ton. I don't enjoy current Hollywood at all. Maybe it's just me getting older. I've admitted that. I just don't jive with a lot of the stuff that comes out nowadays. A lot of it's rehashed nonsense. I'd rather watch cheesy 80s action sci-fi flicks all day, any day over 75-80% of the stuff that comes out of Hollywood now, and that's legit. Maybe even a higher percentage than that. But man, oh man, this trailer, Joker 2, I am all in. Not saying that I'll necessarily go to the theater. I haven't been to the theater in 5-6 years now to watch a movie, but I will be all in day one for sure when it drops on digital, because I want to see this. And I got to say, Lady Gaga is Harley again. I don't like her personally. I don't deny her talent. I just don't like her. Okay. Overall, her as Harley for this type of movie alongside Phoenix works. It works so far from what I've seen in the trailer. It works to a T. They fit each other to a T. And some of the looks she's got going on, some of the things that she pulled off just in the trailer, I'm loving it so far. So Mav, give me your thoughts. This isn't Fun Pop, but give me your thoughts on Joker 2, man.
Hey, thanks for watching PM in the Fun Pop. Yeah, no, this trailer was amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the trailer gets you really excited for a movie. And this is one of those times, right? Like I was never worried about this movie being good because the first one was excellent and same director, and Joaquin Phoenix is an amazing actor. I saw when was the I can't remember the movie that Lady Gaga did with Bradley Cooper. It was really good as well. So I had faith in her like acting and stuff like that. But when I heard it's a musical, it's gonna be interesting. I think the songs, I want to know what the songs are. That'll play a big part in it, right? But I think it has the makings of a classic. It could be one of those movies that people talk about for forever. It could be if they nail it.
Yes,
because like we do the Dark Knight. You know, everybody still talks about the Dark Knight. It came out like a long time ago now, but it'll always be remembered as one of the best takes on Batman. And this could be kind of a standard of like, you know, these characters are in a different way, you know, portraying them in a different way in their own new story, you know, and as long as it's great, then it's good to tell different stories. And I think that this story that Todd Phillips is creating is going to stand on its own. I do wish that he would get the opportunity, or maybe he doesn't want to or whatever, but create more movies about different characters in this universe that all are tied in, like with the DC universe. I don't know if it would fit with what he's trying to do, but like, I don't care if it's a comic book adaptation. I don't care or whatever. I just love the characters and good stories involving them. So if it's a new take on one, that's cool, right? And I would love to see his take on all these characters, like Batman, or like the Riddler, or you know, Penguin, like,
or origin stories in this universe would be absolutely freaking ridiculously good for some of the characters.
Could you imagine like what he would do with like a Superman or something like that?
Right.
Like in this grounded, realistic type world.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be pretty crazy. I'm just curious. My curiosity is piqued with that because he is really original, right? And that's the most important thing for me. A Star is Born. Sin said, "Yeah, Star is Born." That's the movie with Bradley Cooper and Gaga. Yeah,
he understands. Again, there are like your Christopher Nolans and stuff do in their own perspective too. They understand visually how to arrest the audience, right? How to make every scene really stick out. And there'll always be scenes that stick out more than others, obviously. But not every director obviously has this. We know this. There's bad movies made all the fucking time that are like, what were you doing? Like, I could be behind the camera and make a more impactful shot than you sometimes. Like, again, that's just, you know, that's our nature. But there are certain greats that when I look at the shots throughout this trailer, this one particular, or you go back to the first Joker movie, and I'm looking at those shots. And again, I don't watch, much like video games, I'm easily entertained, right? So it doesn't take much to have me say, oh, that was good. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, I have movies and TV shows that people hated that I'm like, oh, I really enjoyed it. It was good. So it doesn't have to be like some, groundbreaking thing, but there are certain directors that, even as somebody who doesn't have a critical eye like that or doesn't watch things critically, sits up and takes notice. And again, his cinematography, the way, the colors, the use of colors, and the way he shoots things, that ending with her drawing the smiley face, which with assume his lipstick, and him just slightly moving over and matching his lips and then smiling so that it's genius.
Yeah.
There you can say it's like the most simple shot ever, but to think of doing it that way and the angle that he used and presented it, and of course Phoenix and the way that he portrays the Joker in these films, it just is right. It just makes you go, holy shit. I have to see this movie. Like, this is what it's about. This is the way Hollywood used to be really creative. You can go back and you can say, well, a bunch of the 80s and 90s shit was shit, and it was garbage, and it was cheesy. But honestly, there was some really interesting stuff. They were taking chances. People don't take chances in Hollywood. Much like video games, we're seeing remakes, that kind of stuff. I don't have a problem per se all the time with that stuff. But again, when you run out of ideas like Hollywood has, it gets hard to be innovative, and it gets really hard to stand out. But again, there are certain directors who just get it. There are certain actors who their performances stand above even bad writing or even bad just directing. Yeah. They can stand above. And again, Todd Phillips, for me, after seeing this, he is putting himself in that class firmly. I don't see too many current day Hollywood directors that have this vision like he does. So I just had to bring this up. Again, this isn't Fun Pop. This is an episode of Fun Pop. We're going to talk video games, but obviously it's in the realm. It's in the purview of what we talk about in video games. It's a part of the entertainment industry. And I just thought Joker 2's trailer just this week was just stellar, man. I was blown away.
Before we move on, while we're just talking about directors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I just got to give a quick shout out to and apologize to the world that we slept on these movies. Hereditary, we finally watched, and we saw that. We're like, holy shit. Like, and immediately I was like, who's the director, because it's so different, and so looked it up. Ari Aster. And I was like, okay, well, what else did he do? He did this other movie that I always see in the box for it, or the cover when you're scrolling through movies. But I never really thought anything of it. It just looked like whatever. A movie called Midsummer.
Yep.
And we watched that after. You want to talk about taking chances and going places? Holy shit. The scene with the with the women and the the hands on the that scene, and then the smile after, it's crazy, bro. It was insane. So shout out, you talk about taking chances and directors and stuff going crazy places. Shout out to Ari Aster, man. That guy is not afraid.
No. And again, those dudes scare me. Those dudes that come up with psychological shit scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's because what Kate we're talking about. It's like, how do you think of this stuff?
Again, as somebody who has been creative in his lifetime, at certain points, there's still people that when I witness their professional work, it's just like, what is going on up there?
Right.
Because you have to be. And I say this in the politest way possible, you have to be a little cracked. You really do. You have to be broken in a different way. Again, I have a firm belief that all humans are broken in different ways inside. And so, because we've all had experiences that have changed us in certain facets, usually bad. But dude, you've got to be. Midsummer blew me away, bro. Yeah. Again, visually, stunning,
and it just ramps up and ramps up and ramps up and gets crazier and crazier and crazier,
because it's like halfway normal, and you're like, oh, well, this is kind of nice, right? Even though there's an underlying something going on dark, but still you're like, I wouldn't mind visiting here. This seems like a good group of people. Like,
if the second I stepped foot on that place, I would have been the fuck out of there, man. I would be like,
I would have hung out for a while. I would have hung out for a while. I'd be like, hey, all right, we got some peaceful people going on here. You know, free love and God, and let's sit underneath the sun, and we all hold hands, like eat dinner together.
And
yeah, we're cool, man. This is like a cool commune. Let's go. Yeah. By the end of that movie, the whole like last 45 minutes, half hour, 45. I was just sitting there going, my mouth was wide open. I'm like, I can't believe this is turned.
When they
like
jumped off the cliff, would you have left at that point?
Yes. Yes, I would have been. I would have been planning my escape route as soon as I saw what they were forcing the elders to do. I would have been like, okay.
I don't want to turn 72, man. I don't want to turn 72.
I ain't jumping off a cliff, bro. So yeah, no, I would have found my escape at that point. But yeah, no, it was interesting. It was interesting.
Shout out to Ari Aster. Oh, and if you wanted to go back to his roots a little bit, there's this short. You're talking about disturbing stuff.
Yeah,
because we tried to look up stuff that he's done after, and there was something called it's a short film on YouTube. There's something strange about the Johnsons, or what's strange about the Johnsons, or something like that. It's like 20 something minutes. I'm just saying, it's a little bit off the wall. It's a short film. It's like one of the first things he did, but it gained him some notoriety. It's
sure.
You want some shock value type stuff? Yeah.
No. Normally, I can only again. You got to be a little cracked. You have to be cracked differently too. It just, I imagine coming up with these ideas. So that scares me just by your reaction right there. Whatever the short is, I probably won't even look it
up. I mean, the first minute, I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people like that. There are some people like that. Well, this was your bonus edition of Fun Pop, which Mav has not had for a while, talking some movies and some directors and stuff. But yeah, no, I definitely agree. Ari Aster did a great job with Midsummer for sure. Like, I was blown away by that movie. Like, it's not a movie I'll go back to and like rewatch a whole lot, but it definitely blew me away.
One's enough.
Yeah, one's enough. Well, I got it. It's still like I've got a lot of the movies still ingrained in my brain because it was impactful. It was one of those things. So let's the chat all showed up. All these beautiful people for some video game talks. Let's try to get into some video game talk. I love this. This is why Steele and I love doing
Midsummer the game.
Oh, what would you do? What would you be?
You would be visiting the combine, and like you'd have been having to do like different challenges or commune.
That's true.
Or whatever they call it. Yeah.
Or maybe your job is to convince people to stay.
Well, how they do that is they just kill them.
Well, right. If they get out, if they
also maybe you have to like find a way to secretly kill the people that are trying to leave.
Maybe that would be it, and not get caught. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. That'd be an interesting one, though.
Creepy game to play, though.
It would be. Yeah. It would be. Horror's big down. It might work. Let's see here, Mav. What should we jump into? Obviously, we've got some things to talk about this week. Mav, did you get a chance? We did have a showcase this week. Did you get a chance to watch it? I know, obviously, if you didn't, you didn't.
I watched it a little bit earlier today.
Okay, you did watch a little bit
earlier
today.
I didn't finish it. I've watched like 30-something minutes of it.
Okay, so you almost got the full showcase. Yeah. So it was, I think it was a total of 40 minutes, I want to say, or something like that. 30 games.
There was like 10 minutes.
45 minutes. Yeah, something like that. Anybody who did not know about this showcase, don't blame yourself, and I don't blame you. This is a brand new showcase that sounds like they're going to make a kind of a regular thing. It is now it's a new indie showcase, and it was called Triple I, the Triple I Initiative 2024. And this was put together. Let me get the list of people. It was backed by strong independent studios such as Evil Empire, Red Hook, Mega Crit Games, Poncle, Stunlock Studios, Thunder Lotus, Relogic, Ghost Ship Games, Extremely OK Games, Heart Machines, and more. And I do remember, Mav, us hearing about this announcement, like I want to say the beginning of the year or late last year about this thing coming around. But again, it just came out of the blue. I just so happened to be at work and I was scrolling at the time, and Wario 64's post came up, and I'm like, we got a showcase today? What's this? And then I read it and I'm like, I don't remember this. I'm like, okay. So I happened to turn it on and I watched it at work. Now I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch all of it. So obviously I was in and out, but let me tell you guys like indies, you want to see some new things. They had I think what do they have, man? Like 8 to 10 world premieres in this thing, maybe more.
Yeah.
There was quite a more. So if you're in the smaller games arena, like I am, right? And you want to see some new stuff coming up, PC, console, everywhere kind of stuff, right? Go check out this showcase. Well worth the watch. Fast paced. This is like the future game shows where they just rip them off, except there's no voice actors on stage in between. They had a couple of cuts with devs. Like they talked to the dev behind Flintlock. They talked to one of the devs behind Flintlock, got some more background on Flintlock. This was a really cool showcase for a first showcase out the door. Like they got it. Like it was rip roaring fast. Again, 30 plus games in 45 minutes. So there was a lot to be seen here. I just wanted to bring this up real quick. I'm obviously not going to cover every single game here. I'm not going to. Mav, I'm just going to read. And again, if something pops up that you do remember watching today, let me know. I'll rip off a couple, a little bit more on a couple of the ones that I found interesting. But again, a lot of people did not even know about this. So if you didn't, again, it's called the Triple I Initiative. You can search it. You'll find it. Go back and watch the showcase. Really, really, it had a ton of cool games in this. I came out of this with like 12, 15 games that I was interested in out of the 30 plus. Really, really great here. So Slay the Spire 2 got shown off here. Loved Slay the Spire 1. So again, Slay the Spire 2, the sequel was announced here. It arrives in Steam Early Access in 2025. Got the first little taste of Slay the Spire. A lot of people played Slay the Spire 1. So this is definitely on the list for next year. Awesome. Risk of Rain 2 is getting new DLC. A lot of people play Risk of Rain. I actually own both of them. I've played both. They are fun roguelike games. They are awesome. They got a new update coming with new stage, new artifacts, all that kind of stuff. So we got to see that. This game right here is one of the first ones that caught my attention, Mav, and I hope you did see the trailer for this one. I did post it in the DMs as well, and Steel and I and Psycho were talking about it. Kill Knight. Kill Knight looks phenomenal, Mav. Did you see this one?
Yes, Kill Knight had like the massive amount of enemies and stuff.
It's like a shmup. It's like a shmup, but a isometric view shoot 'em up, right? But you play as a knight who kills things in like this castle below hell is what it is. And the more items that you pick up, the more stuff that you get, the faster you get, the faster the enemies get. So you could see this ramp up. So it is going to be a Twitch shmup by the time you get done with this thing. But this looks awesome. This should be on everybody's radar. It launches this year. Never heard of it. This was a world premiere, right, Matt? You hadn't heard of this, right?
No, I hadn't heard of it or anything, and it stood out immediately.
Yeah,
when I saw it.
Music, graphics. It's from Playside Studio. So again, Kill Knight, Knight. Go check this out. But yeah, Mav, I'm all in on this one for sure.
Yeah, day one
looks great. Day one. Another very cool game that I saw that's not going to be for everybody, but Shadows of Doubt. This is from Fireshine Games and Coal Powered Games. It's a detective game, a sandbox detective game, and it's already out. And it's out on PC, but it's coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles in 2024. And you also, it's got a free sharpshooter assassin update for PC right now. This is a cool ass voxel type game, right? That's what it looks like. It looks like it's made in voxels, and it's kind of first person. And you've got to investigate these murders in this town. And this town is filled with actual people who have daily activities, so you can like spy on people, and you can get like when they leave their place of business, you can break into the business, hack into their computer to try to get evidence, to try to find out who the killer is, so you can stop the next murder. So Shadows of Doubt looks awesome, man. Did you see this one too?
I did. It stood out to me also because it looked like a murder, like solved mystery type investigation game, and it looked like it was pretty dynamic in how you're going to approach the things and stuff. So definitely jumped off the screen for me as well. But then I guess it's already out on Steam.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's out on PC. Yep, it's got a new update right now. It's coming to console this year.
So I'll be maybe trying this on console later.
Yeah, absolutely. New farm life simulator called My Time at Sandrock from Pathia Games and Focus Entertainment and PM Studios. Hey, PM and the PM. That's coming to PC and console later this year as well. Dino Lords. This is another one. Northplay and Ghost Ship Publishing. Dino Lords is a game where you're a knight who rides dinosaurs. It's in the works for PC and got a new trailer, and it's got an RTS strategy to it, right, Mav? But you all of a sudden it would look like a regular kind of like it looked like your regular kind of city builder where you're building up castles, medieval city builder, and then all of a sudden out of the blue these dinosaurs show up. Out of the blue, it was all of a sudden became Ark Survival. And I was like, yo, what's going on? Game looks totally awesome. Dino Lords, I'm checking this out on Steam for sure. I'm wishing it was listening.
So I was confused about exactly what kind of genre it is. Like if it was more traditional RTS, or if it's more like tower defense, or if it was more like overall just strategy or what, but it looked awesome.
A modern genre hybrid with a player-controlled protagonist in a real-time strategy setting. Okay. So it's an RTS, but you also get to control your main character as well.
Yeah.
So you gather resources, automate, refine, and craft goods and weapons, build a medieval city with housing and production. So again, that's where I got the city builder from. But that's what it starts out as. So, but then you've got to protect your lands from invading dinosaurs, and you yourself can, or as a knight, can ride dinos and control dinosaurs. Dope, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, all about this for sure. Man, that looks freaking great, man. Then we had Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder from Fireshine Games. Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder now has a release date. The steampunk adventure game launches on Steam May 21st. Then we had Vampire Survivors there, of course, from Ponkel. Shout out to them. Again, Vampire Survivors, freaking phenomenal game. So addicting. We were all addicted to it for so damn long. Still can pop it on and have a great time. New DLC is coming. Operation Guns, and that's the Contra crossover. They're going to have a Contra crossover in Vampire Survivors. So they announced that, along with the PlayStation 5 community is finally getting Vampire Survivors as well. They are launching on PlayStation 5 along with the DLC May the 9th. So again, Vampire Survivor players, I know there's probably some of you in the chat that still do it. Contra crossover, May the 9th, new DLC, plus PlayStation 5 only fans will definitely be able to jump on board with Vampire Survivors. Awesome,
yeah,
man.
That looked awesome, man.
Yeah, it looked dope, bro. Look great. Flintlock, I told you guys, had some more behind the scene footage. I don't know how much. Again, I was at work, so I couldn't really focus. It was a short dev talk, kind of explaining the history of Flintlock, kind of the ideas behind it. I don't know how much of the footage was new, but there was gameplay footage in there. So if you guys want to go watch that, check it out. Can't wait for that. Again, summer of 2024 is the release window. We did not get an official date yet, but Flintlock is coming. Game Pass day one still. So looking forward to Flintlock. Obviously, Mav, I think you are too, right?
Yeah, 100%. Flintlock is like, doesn't seem like an indie game to me. You know, I guess it's the point of the show in a little bit. Although it's called Triple I, It's kind of what I think of a game like Flintlock, but like most of the games there were just clearly indie games. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But like
It was
this
a
is
playoff
what this is
AAA.
right. This is one that is like, okay, that is what that means. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a play. That joke started going around. Who started that? One of the indie devs started that and said that they should start calling their games Triple I. I
It
can't remember
was
who it was.
Squanch
Who was
Games.
Squanch, that's right,
Yeah.
Squanch. So obviously, this group took and ran with that, and it works out perfectly. It's a cool title. Never Alone 2, if you guys ever played Never Alone 1 with the Arctic Fox, like 10 years ago, really kind of a I'm not gonna say it was like popular, but obviously a lot of people loved it. Adorable fox, fun adventure game. 10 years ago, it's finally getting a sequel coming from Humble Games. So that is coming out. They announced that. Looks great. Again, if you're into those type of narrative kind of adventure games, it looks awesome. And then we had Cataclysmo from Digital Sun Games. This is an RTS map that looks super dope. It's from the creator of Moonlighter. If you guys have played Moonlighter, you will understand kind of the atmosphere and the art direction that they're going with this in this RTS. They have players build castles to defend themselves from terrors trying to break in. So this game is coming on to PC July the 16th and looks awesome. I fooled around with Moonlighter. Moonlighter was kind of cool because you were a shopkeeper in a town selling weapons and goods during the day, but at night you had to go into the dungeons to go get the stuff that you were going to sell in your store. That was the concept of Moonlighter, and it was kind of dope. I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of fun with it. Didn't play it for like the longest period of time, but I had a lot of fun with it. I love the art direction. This is an RTS. Looks awesome. Can't wait to check this one out. Death Must Die. Death Must Die is a game with a good name from Real Archie. Got a new trailer during the showcase and confirmed that Act 2 is releasing April 20th. This is already out, the first act. So Death Must Die Act 2 is coming. Again, PC, April the 20th. Endzone 2, post-apocalyptic survival game. I wish I had so much more time. I wish I just had a whole extra set of 24 hours map that I could just play survival and city builder games, right? I wish I did.
A lot in the show.
There
strategy games, Civ clones, city builders.
So good,
like all this
man.
Stuff.
Endzone 2 looks phenomenal. World Apart is getting a sequel, and early access for Endzone 2 will begin this summer. Brief trailer showed rebuilding the world to navigate and travel in an isometric perspective. Again, those of you that love this stuff, Endzone 2 is going to be really good. It looks awesome. Dyson Sphere program from Youth Cat Studio and Gamera Games. Factory Sim. It was kind of a factory sim tower defense. Basically, you're protecting your world from increasingly dangerous kind of morphing enemies, and you have to go back to your factory and get blueprints, make up blueprints for new weapons that you can bring onto the battlefield to try to, change the tide of battle. Kind of really cool. You'd have to see it to understand it. Looked cool though. Dyson Sphere program is what it was called. Looked interesting, at least. Undermine fans, you get an Undermine 2, a sequel to the roguelike dungeon crawler. Undermine was announced with a trailer featuring dual protagonists, blob shopkeepers, and killer bees. Undermine 2 does look really good. I have never played it. It looks like Zelda. It's like a roguelike dungeon crawler with Zelda influence is what it always reminds me of. So Undermine 2 is coming. All right, Norland, medieval kingdom builder, all in. You guys didn't even have to show me anything more. It looks awesome. Again, my wish list is getting longer all the time. Every time I go in the Steam store, because there's so many strategy games and all this stuff that I've never been able to play on console. Norland is a new one from Hooded Horse. Looks phenomenal. Teased early access May 16th. Can't wait. It looks dope. What the Car? What the Car from Triban, the Gonzo action game from What the Golf studio. Triban is coming to Steam September 5th. And a demo is available now. So if you got Steam and you like What the Car looks like some crazy where you actually are the car and you go through, it's like a platformer. It looks crazy. Darkest Dungeon from Red Hook Studios is getting a free update this year. So a new mode called Kingdoms. And the new trailer showed some of the kingdom's combat and skill trees. I did enjoy when I played Darkest Dungeon 1. Certainly enjoyed it. It's a very cool game, very tough game, actually. Very difficult at points. But cool game, and they're getting a free update. RKGK, Wasabi Design and Gearbox Publishing, a stylish graffiti-inspired trailer introducing the world of RKGK. It's pronounced Rakogaki, which takes place in a neon-soaked futuristic city coming this summer. This is a platformer, 3D platformer. You know I'm not about platformers. Style-wise, though, look dope as hell, right? And, of course, anytime I see graffiti and this kind of futuristic world, I always think Jet Set. It looked cool. Go check it out. Broken Roads, Mav. This is the other one that caught my attention too. And In Exile actually congratulated the developers, Drop Bear Bites, for making this game because it has a whole lot of Wasteland feel to it. This is a strategy RPG, post-apocalyptic, set in Australia. That's right.
Yeah.
Mav and his accent. He could do a whole stream of this game in that accent. It's got an alignment system, deep systems to this game, and I love alignment systems. I love being able to go different paths, choose the dark side if I want to. They've actually got an alignment system called the Machiavellian side of things in this one. Bro, this looks super cool. I like the look of this one. Did you see this one, Mav?
Yeah, it looks like Wasteland. It was my immediate reaction. It looked more like Wasteland 2, right? When I first saw it, but kind of like up to more modern standards and stuff like that. So, I was wondering, like, they must have been inspired by In Exile or something, you know, for that game. They were. But yeah, it's one I'll be playing day one, mate.
Day one,
maybe
day one. Well, it's available right now.
Oh, so Dave, whatever. Dave,
that was the announcement. It was available now. So
it's Shadow Drop.
Yep.
Shadow Drop. There, Pong Soul.
You got to do a whole stream of this game just doing your accent the entire time without ever breaking. It would be freaking amazing.
Crikey, I got eliminated.
But lots of choices in this game, like Wasteland, Consequences. Again, it's called Broken Roads by Drop Bear Bites. It's on Steam right now. Drop day one. Go check it out. Raven's Watch, Fall of Avalon. This is a game that I have been wanting to play. It's getting a new early access update. It's from Past Tech Games. It's a co-op roguelike. Raven's Watch looks super dope. I love the art style in this game. But it's getting a new update called The Fall of Avalon on April 22nd. Looks awesome. Cat Quest 3, we got to see this. The Gentle Brothers and Kapler Interactive. I think this one was actually at a PlayStation event last year, Mav. Cat Quest. Adorable new animated trailer for Cat Quest 3 dropped. So this is the cat pirate game. If you guys remember that from the PlayStation Showcase last year. Then we had Hyperlight Breaker, which looks super dope. Heart Machine is the developer. Releases via Steam Early Access this summer. The studio announced during the showcase. Looks freaking awesome. If you guys ever played the original Hyperlight, it's just set in a 3D world. Looks totally awesome. Don't know if I'll play it day one, but it looks I won't play it day one, but it looks awesome. Go check it out. The Last Spell from Ishtar Games and the Arcade Crew. Last Spell released March 2023 is welcoming an expansion, Dwarves of Runeberg, on April 24. It promises, among other things, new weapons to use. A free update is also in the works for everyone. I had not remembered this one, but it looks super cool. So go check out The Last Spell. Then we had another city builder, Mav, and this one was a very cool concept. It seemed like a chill concept that it's going to have some of your city builder problems in game where, you know, weather comes along and that kind of stuff. But this is called Lacera, Summit Kingdom. Basically, you've got to build an entire kingdom on the side of a mountain. So your space is kind of limited and you got different levels, and they showed people building like monuments at the very top of the mountain with these huge wooden expansion bridges across so that their people could get over to these monuments and pray or whatever they do at these Bro, this game, the art style was fantastic. Number one, love the look of the cities and that kind of stuff. Again, if you're into city builders, go check out Lacera Summit Kingdom, April 10th, Steam Early Access, which was yesterday. So go check that out. Wizard of Legend 2 also was here. If you played the first Wizard of Legend, which I did not, but Wizard of Legend 2 looks kind of cool from Humble Bundle, and developer Dead Mage got a new trailer showing off its gorgeous environments. Did you ever play Wizard of Legend 1, Mav?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But the trailer looked interesting.
Yeah, it did. It looked pretty dope. Let's School Building Simulator. Let's go is finally coming. It's been on PC. It is now coming to console. So you get to build out your school, man. You get from the ground up. You get to design your school.
I showed that one to Kate, and she was like, "Graphics don't look good enough." She's like playing House Flipper 2 and Hotel Renovator, and like this one just looked like too old school style for her.
It's more like SimCity style than it is
exactly
her, what she's used to. Yep. Bro Tato is getting new DLC. You guys know I've played a lot of Bro Tato over the past couple months. Love Bro Tato. Not as much as Phil. I still like Vampire Survivors better, but Bro Tato is getting DLC called the Abysmal Terrors, kind of underwater, kind of a sea theme. It releases this summer. Blobfish Games also announced a couch co-op for the game is in the works. Game can be addictive, not as addictive as Vampire Survivors, but I do like this game, and the DLC looks cool. Chia. You guys remember this game? PlayStation console exclusive. It is now released in March on the PC and is coming to the Nintendo Switch June 27th. Still no Xbox release for Chia. But again, if you're into that, it's going to be on your handheld. So go check it out. Streets of Rogue 2 from Tiny Build. Fooled around with the first Streets of Rogue. Basically, Streets of Rogue is a sandbox where you can pretty much be anything and do anything you want to, except that it's got the graphics of the old original Grand Theft Auto. Okay, if you guys remember like Grand Theft Auto London, that's what I'm talking about. We're going way back, but you can basically, it's got so many different classes and skills and all this stuff you can be. You can steal, you can hack, you can go on murderous rampages, you can be nice guy, you can do whatever you want in this game. Streets of Rogue 2 looks like they just took that and expanded even more. So you can wishlist that on Steam right now. Had you ever played Streets of Rogue?
No. No. It's one that I've thought about playing a lot because it'd be just a fun little fuck around game, you know?
Yeah.
And I like sometimes randomly playing stuff like that, but I haven't played it. Maybe fun to. Is it on the Switch? That'd be a fun little Switch game.
Yes, it should be. Yeah, no, it'd be a great Switch game. It is cool as hell, actually. The stuff you can do. Again, I didn't play for very long, but what I did play, I was like, okay, I see why people love this so much. Yeah. So
I'll just wait for this 2 though at this point, because what did they say when it's coming?
It's coming. No, they did not say. But you can wishlist it on Steam right now. So, yep. Let's see here. Then we had another Civ-like game coming called Old World, Mav, and this looked cool as hell. Developed by Mohawk Games, published by Hooded Horse. Hooded Horse has got some cool ass games that I like coming out. I did not know about these guys, but I started following them on X because they're publishing some cool ass. They're kind of like a Paradox publisher. Oh man, you got my heart. This Old World looks really awesome. This is another new game showing off for the first time, another world premiere, launching May 28th, strategy and tactics PC game, Old World Behind the Throne. So that's coming out May the 28th. So if you like Civ games, go check out Old World Behind the Throne. Pal World was here, Mav. Pocket Pair showed up. A quick little trailer, but it was freaking Pal World Arena. They're bringing PvP to Pal World, as lots of people have wanted, Mav, and is coming supposedly in later this year, 2024.
Yeah.
So Pal World PvP Arena coming your way, all you Pal World fans. Again, it was a short, sweet trailer. It wasn't like some big deal, just like Pocket Pair. They just do these like little things. Dope as hell. Again, the more they add to Pal World, the more the game is going to be around for a very long time. So looks cool.
Yep.
33 Immortals got shown off. We saw this last year, man, about at the Xbox stage. We were all kind of interested in this. This is that 33 player game that looks crazy. And it's a co-op action roguelike game, is how they've always described it, from Thunder Lotus. coming to Game Pass day and date. Mid-May on PC is what they talked about here, and there's going to be a closed beta for PC in mid-May. So if you're on PC and you want to check out 33 Immortals, make sure you look for that sign up. And it says check out GameSpot's rundown of what you need to know about the beta and how to sign up. So you can probably go search it and find it. 33 Immortals though did show off more gameplay, Mav.
Cool Look concept, good. Man. Yeah, I mean, it looked like a roguelike, you know, mm-hmm. or roguelike or whatever the genre. It looked like one of those games, but with co-op with friends. So
a lot of friends.
Yeah, it said Epic, Xbox, and Game Pass, I think, on the tagline after it. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be cool, man. It'll be a cool game to try out at least. The game that I've had my eye on for a while now, ever since I saw it because of its absolutely unique and stunning art direction, is Mouse from Fumi Games and Playside Publishing. Steamboat Willie, you guys all know the original Mickey Mouse, black and white. If you don't know what Mouse is, this is a first-person shooter basically set in that world. Like, it looks almost like that classic Disney art style from Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie, way back 30s. They now are introducing spinach, and they have a Popeye arm that shows up with the anchor and all in this game. But this game looks so dope, man. I don't care what anybody says. I want to play this, man. It looks so much fun.
Cuphead-ish type.
Yes. Yes. That's another good
art
one.
Style. You know what I mean?
First person shooter.
Paying homage to those old classic cartoons and stuff from back in the day. And yeah, it looked crazy. I saw that. I was like, what is this, dude? And I was like, is that a Cuphead DLC? At first, that was my initial reaction. You know? Right. Or is like it made by the same people, but no, it's just a whole new thing. And definitely something that'll be interesting to try.
For sure. Yeah. Again, as a first-person shooter, I mean, it's like you are in the cartoon. It's freaking dope, man. I can't wait.
How is it spelled? It's spelled like mouse. M-O-U-S-E.
Yeah. All capital letters.
M-O-U-S-E.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's basically what it is. Got to check that out. Looks super cool. V Rising is getting some DLC that dropped recently. It's been on PC for a while. I actually have it, but I'm waiting for controller support on PC because they just dropped it into PlayStation. So PlayStation now has V Rising as well. So obviously I'm hoping the controller support comes to PC pretty soon. But they announced new DLC for V Rising, and they are having a crossover with Castlevania. So you're going to be able to fight Simon Belmont from Castlevania in V Rising. That is released in the Legacy of Castlevania Premium Pack is releasing May 8th on PC and in 2024 sometime for PS5. V Rising looks dope. I can't wait to actually play this game. I fired it up and then I was like, oh, it doesn't really have controller support. Don't feel like playing keyboard mouse, so I haven't fired it up yet. But I plan on doing this. It looks awesome, man. I love the look of V Rising.
Yeah, art style is gorgeous.
Yep. And then surprise, another surprise, Mav. I don't know what Ubisoft decided or why they decided that Prince of Persia needed like 10 games, but they did because a kind of out of the blue, well, this world premiere, the Rogue Prince of Persia was shown off here as a world premiere from Evil Empire, of course, published by Ubisoft. It is another Metroidvania. We just got one of these, Prince of Persia, but this is like in a cartoon style.
Yeah.
And it's from the same people who did Dead Cells, right? Evil Empire is the dev team behind Dead Cells, which I really enjoyed Dead Cells. So not going to be for me. Again, Metroidvanias, platformers, I don't do them. But man, what'd you think about the Rogue of Prince of Persia? And do we need this many Prince of Persia games?
This is where about I left the show.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm looking it up right now, though, as you're telling me.
Yeah.
It looks. I'm not a huge fan of this art style. I'll just be honest.
Right. Sure.
But I love Dead Cells.
Right.
So I am intrigued with this game because of that.
Okay.
I like Prince of Persia. I like Dead Cells. So
okay,
I'll try it despite the art style not being necessarily for me.
Right. Well, that was your show, everybody. Again,
big list of games. One game?
Yeah, I think you only missed one game, unless
I
it's
turned it off
this.
right before this game.
You must have, because
I guess so.
because this is every game that I went through was every game there. So
Okay.
unless there was like a couple of the other ones you weren't
No,
interested in, that
I
you
saw
didn't.
every other game
Okay,
that you've
okay.
mentioned.
So
I
yeah,
just didn't see this one. So
yeah,
I must have
yeah,
put it off right
yep,
before the big
yep,
Prince of Persia thing at the end.
yep. Yep, you
Okay.
must have. So, but that was called the Triple I Initiative. Again, everybody, new showcase, brand new showcase. Again, a lot of people missed it. I would highly recommend going back and watching these trailers. Again, it was really fast paced, only 45 minutes long, 30 games plus shown there. Really awesome show. So go check that out. I thought I'd cover it a little bit, just kind of go through the games in case any of you are interested. Again, we talk a lot of games here too, on top of the higher level stuff. I just want to get that out there because, again, it's hard to keep track of now how many games are coming out, and we're getting more showcases like this, and people just don't know about them. So
Yeah.
go check it out. All right, Mav, where to next? Should we talk a little Fallout, Mav?
Let's talk some Fallout, because everybody's talking about Fallout right now.
Everybody is talking about Fallout. If you've been under a rock, we've got some Transmedia coming up, or actually already dropping. It already dropped from Microsoft and Xbox. We had a lot of Transmedia talks, Mav. Now, obviously, they're not new to it. We've had Halo, which has had 2 seasons on Paramount Plus. First season was not received very well at all from those of you that did watch it. Some of you liked it. Some of you, it was like all over the place. Master Cheeks, of course, they went completely away from the video games for Halo. Season 2, I've heard they did fire some of the showrunners, I guess, or some of the top people, brought some new people in. I heard season 2. You told me season 2 was better and actually was really good. I've heard some high praise for season 2 of Halo. So Transmedia isn't new for Microsoft. Obviously, we know Sony is all about this, right? They are pumping out movies, right? Uncharted, Spider-Man movie, all this stuff, right? They've got Transmedia coming out their butts. They're in fact planning on doing even more of that crossover with their IPs. This has become the thing. And we talked a lot about this, Mav, during the ABK acquisition, about how much IP Xbox now owns and about what they could do. We also know they've got the Gears of War. We got 2 supposedly Gears of War projects. One is an anime, which freaking right on, and another one is going to be a live action version. So they've got 2 Gears of War. We know Gears of War 6 has been rumored now, maybe teasing. Transmedia is a huge part of the video game industry right now. And it can lead to good things if it's done well. So, of course, this week, again, if you were under a rock, Fallout, yes, that Fallout, Bethesda, of course, beloved IP, beloved franchise. We're probably about 8 to 9 years away from the next Fallout game, unless they do something differently. It's got its own TV series on Amazon now. This was a deal that we had found out, I think, a year and a half ago about. It's finally here. Rave reviews, Mav, rave reviews. People out here, Destin Legary, again, think of what you want of Destin, whatever. He had high praise for The Last of Us, like a lot of people did. He said this is better than The Last of Us. I've seen a lot of people make that comparison. Rotten Tomato score in the 90s. Again, I don't watch TV and movies like that anymore. Even though I like the Fallout franchise, obviously, the video games, I really don't have a whole lot of interest in this. If I happen to be bored one night and I want to flip on something, will I flip on Amazon and probably watch this? Yes, I will. Am I going to go out of my way to watch this? No, I'd rather play Dragon's Dogma 2. But we got to talk about this, Mav, because this has also led, we got today, to the news that finally they are giving us the Fallout 4 current gen patch for consoles, both Xbox Series consoles and PlayStation 5, free update, 60 frames, up to 4K visuals. They're giving us some free mods out of the mod store from Bethesda, right? They're actually adding a faction to the game as well. We kind of figured this was happening after they didn't give us the upgrade last year like it was supposed to. We kind of figured they were holding for the show. We've also seen this week, Mav, reports of a spike in popularity for Fallout 76, which for those of you that don't know, for those of you that only got the bad taste in your mouth or only heard of when that game first dropped, how bad it was and how many people left and never came back and that the MMO was dying, Fallout 76 is doing very well for Bethesda. It's not ESO level, but the comeback has already happened. And with this release of Fallout, the TV series, spike in Fallout 76 players. This is one big kind of ecosystem that they've got going on, Mav. So I just wanted to kind of talk about this, Mav, since I don't know, have you watched it at all, Mav? Have you
I
watched
saw the first 2 episodes last night.
Okay, perfect. I was hoping that you and Caitlin, because you and Caitlin binge watch, you guys watch a lot of stuff. So I was hoping that you guys had jumped in. So first of all, what do you think of the show for the first 2 episodes, Mav?
Man, probably the best adaptation with just bringing a video game universe to life that I've seen, and like at least on a show format. Like there's so many like little Easter eggs and nuggets, and like they don't like shy away from anything. Like if it's in the game, it's possible that it's going to show up here in the show, right? And that was amazing to see, but it's also so far how they kind of are telling the story. There's moments in this show that pay homage to moments in the games, right?
Oh, so they're respecting the IP is what you're saying.
Yeah, like there's certain situations in like classic Fallout stuff where like something happens to you as a player, or like you live out this cutscene in the game or whatever, and they try and put you in that same kind of situation in the show, and see things like from the character's point of view there. But like as you're watching a show instead of playing it, you're still kind of like, oh, that's something that would happen in a Fallout game, right? I don't want to give away spoilers, so it's hard for me to give examples. But you know, if you played Fallout 4, there's a scene early on in the game where like you're stuck there and you're just having to watch something horrible happen, right? And this like similar stuff happens like in things, you know. So in that way, there's like, oh, that's something that would happen in a game, or like the character walking into a scene that's like eerie, like, oh, this is crazy what happened in this house, and it's just random. It doesn't have to be there, but that's something that they would have done in the games, right? Adding to the lore, adding to the story, adding value to the world about learning things. So, and you have the things from the different perspectives. There's like 3 that I'm aware of right now. There could be add more later on, but all telling like one story. Brotherhood of Steel, and you know, you have the ghoul who's one of the main characters, and you have the vault dweller Lucy. And I think all 3 are just completely unique, really great characters, and I am invested in each one of the storylines from these characters, and I'm interested in how they're all going to play together. And like I watch it and I'm just like, this is a great story in and of itself. It doesn't even have to be like, it's not a recreation of any one specific game. It just takes place in this universe, right? So overall, you're just watching it and being like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm invested. I'm interested. It kind of grabs you like the games would, because it gives you like motivation to keep watching. And like I can kind of like feel Todd Howard's influence over this show. Like I know he was involved with picking the people to create it and stuff like that, and hearing the pitches and all those kind of things, and I can just feel the influence about the care to the universe, and trying to find a way to bring that to life as good as they can in that format, but in the, you know, obviously it's in a different media. And I'm just completely invested in it. It's my favorite so far. Just I'm only 2 episodes in, but it's my favorite video game show I've watched so far, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I hope we get like 10 seasons of this thing, man. I hope it just keeps going and going. I think it's going to be extremely successful on Amazon Prime. So there's every reason to believe that it will continue. It'll probably help the games.
Yes, it already is.
As we saw that, I told you earlier, Kate, after watching those first 2 episodes, she was like, "Oh, tell me about the games. Is the games like this?" You know, she was like, "I'm interested in the games. Can you install one?" I was like, "Well, which one? Like, do you want me to install like Fallout 4 or Fallout 76?" She was like, "Well, what's different about them?" And so I was like trying to explain. So right now she had me install Fallout 76 because she doesn't necessarily care more about the story. She just wants to go and explore the world and stuff, you know? So I'm like, okay. So I installed Fallout 76 so she can go and mess around with that and see if she likes it. I don't know. But overall, man, it's just a like really well made show. Even if you don't care about Fallout. Like, and that's the most important thing here, because like a show like this, yeah, it has to appeal and be good for the people that love Fallout, but it has to be a great show in and of itself. So that way people get interested in it. Right? And they will ask us questions. What is the game like? Or be more interested in the IP or the franchise. So this is the way to do this cross stuff well. And this might be the best that I've seen so far. So we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, I have several more episodes to go of this season. I see some people like saying, "Do you binge? Should they have released it 1 episode per week or whatever?" Like, you know, that argument you always see between Paris and Rand. You know, I'm more for the binge stuff. Let put it all out there. Let me palate as much as I want to at one time. You know, and this is one that I think we'll probably watch 2 episodes at least every night this week.
That's, you know, your sentiments kind of follow most of what I've heard. Now, I've heard some people say that they, you know, stray away from the games, and that they've done some things that don't necessarily follow along with the games. I am okay. Like I said, again, from way outside perspective, because I don't get into TV shows and movies like this anymore. But just even as somebody who has in the past watched a lot of stuff, I'm okay with them not being 100% to the games, right? Or whatever, or the comics or whatever, right? As long as you respect the IP. And again, from what I saw at Halo Season 1, even as being the casual Halo fan around here at the Fun Speculation Network, I could tell they didn't respect it. And you knew that from the interviews that all the heads of the TV show talked about, how they said specifically, we didn't touch the games because we didn't want any of that influence. Okay, listen, to your point, Mab, that's not what you need to do. Again, you can have your own vision, but you have to respect the original fan base. And when the medium that started it is video games, there has to be some influence from the games on the actual show that you're creating. Otherwise, again, alienating that fan base doesn't work out well. And now Halo Season 2, again, I've heard is much better, but at the same time, the damage is already done because they already took the story, you know. And again, the big question, the big kind of fan, you know, hubbub around Halo was Master Chief without his armor on, right? All the time. Like that, you've already done that. So you make it very hard for even new people to come in and try to right the ship. But I heard Halo Season 2 was. But think about, had they been respectful from the beginning to the Halo franchise, had they respected the fan base enough to let it influence some of the show, think about the reception, what that could have done even more for Halo Infinite. Because to your point, Matt, this is why Transmedia is so valuable. Because when you do it right, it does have this effect. I have now seen, it was great to hear Caitlin's story, and, you know, after her falling in love with Starfield, which was an absolute shocker for us, right? I could see her, you know, maybe starting to dig in, you know, to Fallout, because again, she now has experience in first-person RPGs, third person if you want to, but she has that perspective now in a Bethesda RPG world, so she might really enjoy Fallout. But I've seen lots of people on X posting that they hadn't played the Fallout games, but they were going to try them now. There are a lot of people out there, for as big as these franchises that we think of when, you know, we're in this all the time, there's tons of people that have, you know, consider themselves gamers, but never touched any of the major franchises. The same thing happened with The Last of Us when The Last of Us show came out. A lot of people who maybe were gamers, but they didn't play that type of game, watched the Last of Us show, and all of a sudden the Last of Us had a spike in popularity from the games. This is why this nowadays is such a big deal, and it needs to be a priority in a lot of ways for these big publishers to take advantage of IP like this. And I think it's freaking amazing that Todd had so much influence on this game. And obviously the director too, Jonathan Nolan, right? Mm-hmm. I saw his early interviews when they talked to him about doing the Fallout TV series, and he talked about what a fan of the games he was. And I knew there was a good chance that this would turn out great between having a director who was already a fan of the show and had a relationship and had talked to Todd multiple times about doing something like this and was all in on it and said, just greenlight it, Todd, I'll do it. Like, to finally have it come out, I knew they had a good shot at making something like this. And to see it actually come about and the reception so far of this, again, you can't ask for a better kind of combo of having a game director who is big as Todd Howard create this or take this game, which was not originally his, but turn it into what he did with the Fallout franchise, and then turn around and find a director who matches that same type of passion, and they make a TV series that does respect the IP. I think this is fantastic for Xbox, Microsoft, for Bethesda, for the game, because it is going to introduce a whole new audience to Fallout and maybe get some more people into that world. And again, when the next Fallout shows up, you got that many more people that are excited for it. Now, again, this is really early because Fallout 5, if they follow the pattern, we're getting Elder Scrolls 6, then they'll start working on Fallout 5. That's why I said 8 to 9 years. Okay, well, that's a long time. You kind of want to capitalize on this. So I think that's why they planned the current gen patch around this. I'm sure more people will jump in, try out Fallout 4, buy Fallout 4 the first time, buy Fallout 3, or jump into Fallout 76, which of course is the moneymaker because it's the MMO, right? And people are going to jump into that one for sure and check it out. So they are winning here. I just wish that Fallout 5 was sooner rather than later, or maybe a New Vegas 2 was right around the corner, right? Which everybody had hoped for. But this is the power of Transmedia. And we talked about the lead up to this with the ABK deal and all the stuff they had going on, Mav. And it seems like Halo was kind of a dip first season, but they got season 2 out. It's had much better reception. Now, whether or not it's impacted Halo Infinite, we'll never know, but it's kept the Halo in the talking points. It's kept it in the minds of people. And that's what you want out of your big franchises. So I don't know how much capitalization they saw out of that, but out of their investment, obviously, into that. But this one right here could be the one that shows Xbox, okay, we can do this. Like, this is the formula. We need to find somebody who's as passionate about the game, wants to respect the IP, but we can make this types of transmedia. We're not Sony. We don't have movie studios. We don't have all this experience. We were going to try to start doing that during the Xbox One generation, but obviously we all know that went away. So here we are back in it again, right? We tried it with Paramount Plus, mixed results, but now we got Amazon. We just have out the gate, great response to Fallout. I think this opens the door for them looking at more of their IP, which I'm excited for. Gears, Mav. Gears. Yeah. If they can line up the anime and the live action, we haven't really had any updates on either one of those. But if we hear the Gears 6 rumors are true, and maybe we're looking at a 2026 release date, maybe, if Coalition gets it together, but we could have a Phoenix collection in between there, which we believe, I think both you and I are on board. We believe this is happening no matter what. They're going to release that trilogy. It's going to go to PC. It's going to go everywhere. They've got that timing down, Mav. If this anime and TV show come out and they've got the Phoenix collection dropping and then you got Gears 6 on the horizon, what do you think this could do? Having a TV series and an anime ready for Gears, lined up to even get the hype for Gears back in place, because it's been a long time, man. Let's be real. It's been a long time for Gears. And 4 and 5, while still very, very good games, again, didn't hit the same way as the original trilogy did for the 360 generation. But my God, if the anime comes out and that live action comes out and it holds true to the gritty, dark atmosphere of Gears, and you got blood and it's adult, which again, most of the audience for Gears is supposed to be adult, and we all grew up. I don't know, Mav. What do you think, brother? About that time, huh?
Yeah, I think Gears is gonna be huge no matter what when it comes out because it's just been
Yeah.
a while, right? And I
Yeah.
think Coalition is gonna set a new standard.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But raising up the level of hype for an IP, like something like a great show can do wonders, right? So we have the
Yes.
two things. You have the live action, you have the anime. We saw what Edge Runners did for Cyberpunk, right? It helped people like, oh, Cyberpunk is cool now. You know what I mean? And like it was something kind of weird because yeah, we had a lot of people talking about how awesome it is still,
Yes.
but then it kind of became okay to think that way again once Edge Runners came out and people started getting like really interested in it. And then I think if you have something great like that that really kind of transcends and becomes like a pop culture kind of thing of itself, it can
Yep.
just kind of make things all in all involving whatever that is in the brand more exciting, right?
Yes.
So, and then the games are the mainline thing, right? Everything's based on the games, like the shows, movies, or whatever is based on the ideas and the concepts that the worlds that were built for video games. So, I think it is a way to get more people excited that wouldn't have been otherwise because you have a lot of people that may not play on Xbox or haven't really traditionally been Gears fans in the past, but all of a
Yep.
sudden, they love movies, they love TV shows, right? They see these things, they're like, okay, like this is pretty fucking awesome. And
Right.
oh, you mean there's a game like this? And then they start to pay attention. Oh, they see the trailer, right? Oh, holy shit, like, well, this looks insane. That's a video game, like and so I think it can have a big effect that way. Can transcend into other things too, like merchandise and stuff as well. You never know. Like the sky's the limit, but they're doing it right. Like Halo has had its ups and downs with the show. It's had its ups
Yes.
and downs with the games as well, right? I think it's more with Halo's been it's kind of like you have this dedicated hardcore fan base that just wants the best for the franchise, and then some of the stuff just hasn't quite lived up to that, right? Even
Mhm.
if you do still love what they're putting out, it just still hasn't really grabbed everybody like you would hope it would because everybody knows that it has that potential. And that's been the most frustrating thing with Halo. But then you look at the numbers or hear the Paramount stuff, they say it's like the number one show on Paramount,
Yeah.
and it's like been their
Yeah.
most successful thing ever and stuff that they've done. And it's like, seems like it's actually pretty popular and it's working great. So maybe the gamers aren't really like as in touch with what is going on with the show itself, right?
Sure.
I love season 2 as well, so I think I actually like season 1, but season 2 was even better, and I think it has a great potential future. There's some storylines there that I think they could have done different things with, but it's going to some really good places now. So
Yeah.
between the Fallout show, which I think is kind of setting a standard for video game adaptations with live action, and
Mhm.
then now the Gears thing coming, yeah, Xbox is kind of dialed in here. I just start thinking about like what other franchises they could possibly do this with, or like what do they decide to do? They go all in on this kind of stuff and start doing more? Like, could you imagine like a Sea of Thieves show?
Yep. Can you
You
imagine a
know?
Diablo?
Yeah.
Bro, with
Oh my
what they
God, the
did with
anime.
Diablo 4?
Yeah.
Oh, yo, they or just take their CGI team like they did
Yeah.
with WoW, right? Because they did a World of Warcraft, and actually, that was during a time when there was still some cheesiness to video game stuff.
Hmm.
But World of Warcraft, a lot of people actually enjoyed the movie, the World of Warcraft fans. But if you did a serious Diablo like they did with the storyline that they got going in 4, like with Lilith and all that stuff, you could even go back prior to the occurrences in 4, like, and take that CGI and make a movie out of that CGI. Oh man,
Yeah.
you could have something special. I'm glad you brought up
StarCraft,
that genre. StarCraft, absolutely. If you want to reignite StarCraft, go back to StarCraft.
Overwatch. I mean, I'm just naming Blizzard IPs at this point,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
like they're rich with this kind of stuff,
they're rich. Yeah, this is the stuff we talked
Yeah.
about, Mav. And this is a part of expanding. This is a part of expanding your reach. This falls in line with the philosophy of what Xbox is talking about. This is what Sony's been doing with their IP now a lot recently, and it's a part of reaching new audiences. Number one, with your IP, even if those people don't wind up necessarily turning to the games later on, they are still buying into your ecosystem because you are still promoting and advertising your IP, and you're still can make money off of this stuff. And that's why you see Sony expanding out even further with this transmedia. And this is exactly what, Xbox's new philosophy is getting to more people in more places. And you've got all these great, again, you got kids stuff now. You got Spyro, Mav, a new Spyro cartoon, right? Again, if they're making Spyro 4, I'm not saying that they're going to be able to do all this stuff, but I'm just saying these ideas are there. They've got the IP that has name recognition, at least to some degree. Some of it varies, all right, what you're going to get out of it. But if you do it right, I'm glad you brought up Edge Runners, Mav. I totally forgotten to use that.
Yeah.
Again, after work, my brain doesn't always function properly. But Edge Runners is a perfect example. Again, like you said, Mav, Cyberpunk at that time, right? CD Projekt Red, when they made that deal to have the Edge Runners anime made, they assumed that Cyberpunk would be on cloud nine like it is now, that it would be like considered one of their best RPGs, one of the best RPGs of all time, like a lot of people finally do, even though we were all on board day one. They assumed that it was going to be at its height of its popularity. They obviously did not know that they were actually going to be being slammed and kicked and knocked around. And again, the higher ups deserve it for the previous gen version. We're not talking about that. But they didn't expect to be in the middle of what they were in the middle of when Edge Runners dropped. They were still fixing the game when Edge Runners dropped. But Edge Runners comes out and is some of the best animation that you currently can get for adults in this day and age, which is saying a lot because anime is extremely popular. And all of a sudden, you've got a whole group of people fall in love with that anime and give the game a second chance and suddenly discover, oh, by the way, yeah, this is actually a really good RPG. Oh, CD Projekt Red's doing, they're just making it better. They're fixing it. Oh, we got DLC coming for it. And all of a sudden that helped rejuvenate the entire team over at CD Projekt Red. The success of Edge Runners propelled Cyberpunk on its comeback tour to a different level. And people were highly anticipating now what they were doing with Cyberpunk. A complete 180 turnaround from where they were. And Edge Runners was one of the catalysts to that. That is the power, like you said, Matt, of grabbing that pop culture, of being a part of the conversation, even if it isn't in the same form of entertainment that you are currently masters at. So this is why it's such a big deal. And Xbox and Microsoft now own a lot of this IP, a lot that they could do a ton with. Right?
State of Decay.
Bro, you've got, if Perfect Dark hits, bring back Joanna Dark. Come on,
Oh, you could
man.
have a great spy series based on Joanna Dark.
Bro,
yeah, man.
Yeah, this is what gets me excited, even as somebody who doesn't watch it like that anymore. There are still, if you don't think I'm not going to check out the Gears anime, especially when it comes out, now the live action, I'll have to see where they take it, who they cast. But the anime, if they're going deep and dark and they're making an adult, and I've got, Horde getting cut in half by chainsaw, you don't think I'm not going to check out the anime? Of course I'm going to check out the anime. Of course I am. They've got a lot of potential down the road, but Fallout Fever right now is really starting to hit. And I think that Bethesda is going to reap the benefits, and obviously ultimately Xbox and Microsoft are reaping the benefits from a well-designed, well-produced, well-directed, well-thought-out new TV series based upon a massively popular IP that hasn't seen a new game in a long time, and it doesn't matter. People love the Fallout world. It's great to see, man. It's great to see. We got a member for 9 months, Depka, drops in here and says, Fallout show is so good. Please go watch. Then we got the Decado dropping in here with the 10 bomb. It says, you could clearly tell the director was a huge fan of Fallout. Absolutely, Decado. That's why I brought him up. Again, I read one of his original interviews when he talked about this project. You just knew he played the games. He loved the games. He knew what he was walking into, and he had a great idea about how he could go about translating it over to a TV series. And it's worked out, obviously, with the influence of Todd. By the way, Todd's suit at the opening. Oh, primo Todd, just dressed right, man. Way to go, God. Lotus Esprit dropped on in here with a single bomb. That's right. Lotus Esprit got us up to a Mach 2.75, buying a single ticket. It's never ever expected, but always appreciated. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. That single ticket. Welcome aboard to the fun speculation hype train. Mach 2.75. Buckle up, everybody. Dakota says, uncompromising anime in the current climate is incredibly rare, Pongsoul. Part of what made it so great. Yes, absolutely 1000%. All right. Let's see. Where should we go next, Mav? What do you want to talk about? You got anything you want to talk about this week? There's a bunch of stuff out here. I mean, we should probably talk about the Fallout upgrades real quick.
Yeah,
let's talk about the Fallout.
Fallout 4. Yeah.
Yeah, Fallout 4. So again, we talked about it. It's coming on April the 25th. They announced it today. I thought it would get more fanfare. That's the one thing I will say, Mav. I wish they would have talked about this last week in the lead up to the TV series coming out. And I wish they would have given a little bit more fanfare, just other than just a blog post and an X post. I wish they would have kind of announced this to it. This was kind of a big deal. A lot of people have been waiting on this. It already had FPS boost on Xbox Series, so you could play this game at 60 frames, but the fidelity took a massive hit. Obviously, you could play with mods. They have mods on Xbox. There's people doing that as well, but that doesn't allow you to get achievements or trophies if you use mods. So there's lots of compromises that you have. This is a big deal. So performance mode and quality modes now are coming. Increased resolution and 60 frames per second. Stability improvements and fixes. PC is getting widescreen and ultra widescreen support for all you PCMRs out there. Various free Creation Club items are also coming. And they're also going to, oh God, I forget the name of the faction. It just lost it off the top of my head. Here we go. Enclave remnants are coming to the game. They are dropping those in there. It's going to be brings the pre-war cabal, the Enclave, into the Fallout 4 storyline in this new quest, Echoes of the Past. Can you stop the Enclave from spreading their dangerous ideology and gaining a foothold in the Commonwealth, along with workshop items and the Enclave Colonel uniform? We are including the following previously released Creation Club content: Enclave weapon skins, Enclave armor skins, Tesla cannon, Hellfire power armor, XO2 power armor, and heavy incinerator. Those are all coming. And again, all of this is free, Mav. All right, so Caitlin's getting it downloaded. Are you going back to it? Are you going to play PC? Are you going to try it on the series? What are you going to do, Mav?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Fallout 4 is April 25th.
Yep.
So I will wait till then to dive back in on Xbox. I've already dabbled on PC, and if you go into your settings, you can tweak it to give yourself the ultra wide support. So I had already done that. But
I remember when you did that.
Being built in though, it's gonna be pretty awesome to see kind of what all the other updates are. But I do want to play on the console. I want to play on the big screen with the updates and really check it out. So I'll be playing that on probably that week. And in the meantime, we'll just be dabbling into Fallout 76, I think, and just kind of getting back into it while we're watching the show. And
it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'm just curious if she's gonna like it.
Yeah, it's gonna be curious. The fact that she's even gonna try it though is great. And again, when she got addicted to Starfield, it was like shocking. I was like, holy shit! All right, cool. Again, whether or not she likes Fallout, at the end of the day, that she's trying it is a big W. And I think that's the way a lot of people are going to be that maybe never played Fallout before. I had bought the Game of the Year edition last year on sale for like whatever it was, $9, $10, whatever it was, in anticipation of this. Because again, this patch was supposed to be out last year. So I'm excited to pop it on the console. Even though I have my PC now, even though I could certainly be playing it on PC with all the bells and whistles and all the fun stuff already, I have been waiting for Fallout 4 to come back to console. Again, convenience is a huge factor. I'm not into the whole modding scene yet. I still haven't really tried to get into it at all on any of my games. Maybe I will for certain games down the road. But right now, I just want to play the base game again. And I got all the DLC. Can't wait to get back to it. And the fact that it's going to run 60 frames on my Series X, and I can just power on my console and grab my controller and away we go. Bro, I'm so freaking excited right now.
You know how much she wanted to try it? Guess what she told me to uninstall to make room for it.
Oh Jesus.
As we're trying to pick what to uninstall, right?
What do we uninstall?
GTA.
Holy shit.
She uninstalled GTA to make room for Fallout 76.
Wow. Yeah. That's saying a whole lot, brother.
Yeah. She's that excited.
Yo. Okay. All right. Let's go. So yeah, I'm going to be jumping back into it for sure. When it drops April 25th, I'll be firing it up. I'll have it ready on my console because again, I've been waiting for a long time, to hop back into it. Super excited about that. All right, Mav, what else you want to get into here?
How about, see, I was looking at our news a second ago.
Yeah.
I picked something out. The digital sales. Matt Piscatella's tweet.
Matt Piscatella's tweet this week. Yeah. So, how do we want to start this one? Okay. Well, I mean, again, it's been an ongoing conversation throughout the community for a long time. As we move further and further in the digital age, there are been arguments about physical sales, physical copies, about obviously we've spoken out. I personally have been speaking out since basically I started podcasting about the fact that as somebody who does not like government regulation and interference, the one thing that I do believe that the government is way behind on and should be protecting consumers from is the digital era. And because as our media becomes more and more digital, obviously, do we really own anything? And that's become a hot button topic. As we all know, most of the games now launched, whether digital or even if you buy the physical disc, are just the license. They don't actually have the game there for you. You don't own the game, and they can turn that license off anytime they want to. We've seen games disappear. We've seen movies disappear. We've seen music disappear from storefronts. Even if you purchased it, you no longer have access to it. And I really think we have a problem. But the argument has always been from people that physical can't go away, that, the online requirements to play a game are ridiculous. And again, I agree there should be protections. If the company ever decides to pull the plug on servers, there should be an offline mode built in, or they should patch it in. They should be required to patch in an offline mode so that you can continue to play the game you purchased no matter what. But this has been an ongoing thing. Physical discs are going away. We saw, the rumors as a lot of stores pulled a bunch of the Xbox games. That Xbox is going to go completely 100% digital. Now, Phil has come out and said we are not done with physical as of right now. But an interesting stat came out this week from Matt Piscatella. And he has been in this industry for a very long time, and he's a part of Circana, the research firm who, obviously goes through all the data for all the stats of things, whether it's sales or monthly active users and all that kind of stuff. Matt Piscatella is a pretty neutral dude who just throws out stats. He's a numbers guy. So take it for what it is. Again, I have zero problem with what he does. He doesn't like the console war. He doesn't get into it. His stuff is always used for it. But the interesting tweet that he had this week, or post that he had this week on X, Mav, physical software accounted for approximately physical discs accounted for approximately 10% of all U.S. video game content spending in 2019. So he throws out a stat first from 2019. At that point, it was 10% across console, portable, PC, cloud, non-console, VR, subscription, and mobile. In 2023, this percentage fell to under 5%. Under 5%, Mav, last year were actual physical copies being sold. That means 95% plus was digital for U.S. software sales. Massive. Again, this is undeniable at this point. And again, I understand the arguments. I understand why people hold on to their physical media. Talked about books and stuff like that being edited in digital form, being removed, all that kind of stuff. But for gaming, for those of you who say, I don't want the digital, all digital age, I'm sorry. We are well past that point. Matt, what are your thoughts on under 5% being physical in the US? This
Yeah,
is worldwide, but US.
it's not surprising. I mean, I mean that includes mobile and PC,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And consoles are becoming a smaller and smaller section of the gaming space in general, and even console gamers are buying less and less physical and are mostly digital now. So all in all, it just kind of the writing's been on the wall. Like, and it's just buying habits have transitioned, right? As the games became digital and available digital on consoles, people have started slowly progressing to becoming that the primary way that they buy and play their games. And so much so to the point where now companies are finding it not worth putting the games on disc. That's been, if people think it's a new thing, it's been a thing since the 360 era, when you started having things like Xbox Live Arcade and stuff come out, right? So I think that was the kind of the start. But now we're at the point where most games are bought digitally, and you're going to see less and less games over time get physical releases.
Yeah.
Then you're going to see the consoles lose the disc drives or the option to have a disc drive. So I'm 100% with you on this. It's important for consumers to be protected for the digital age going forward. I've been talking about this for 3 years over on this channel about how important it is for forward compatibility. And everybody was talking about backwards compatibility, but thinking about the future and where things are going and how these companies need to like take that into account going forward. And I've been giving praise to Xbox for the only company that seems like they gave a damn about it. While other companies seemingly like don't care. Remember when everybody was making excuses for PlayStation not even allowing us to use our PS4 controllers on the PS5, right? Like, oh, well, yeah, we believe in generations. It was championed throughout the gaming industry, the gaming media. Yeah, generations. Yeah, it's important. Yeah, it sets the bar. Like, yeah, they're really going to push the boundaries on what gaming can be because of this whole generational gap. Then what do? They started selling us games over again, right? We don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in that world. I want to live in a world where the games get updated over time. You buy the game and eventually it gets better and better as you get new hardware. I understand eventually there has to be time and development costs, and you may have to pay for certain levels of advancements of re-releases, remasters, and stuff, but not like every 4 or 5 years, not like 3 times within a generation or two. You know, I just don't get that. I would rather live in a world where I buy a game and then it carries with me on the next device and the next device and the next device, and I can play it on whatever device I have in my house if it's accessible there, you know? And I try to champion that vision because that's where the digital age should be, right? That's what the standard should be for all these publishers, for all these platform holders. But yet we're here still questioning when they announce the next Switch whether it'll have backwards compatibility on it or not. It shouldn't even be a question. We're wondering about, you know, PlayStation. Are they going to start giving us cross-buy eventually, or even have a PC store? Like releasing their games on PC 6 months to a year later, or maybe even more, and then making us buy them all over again a second time when we already own them. This is just things that are accepted, and they really shouldn't be. But when you question it, it's like, oh, you're just capping because of blah, blah, it's unsustainable, all this other stuff. No, how about we start thinking of things about doing right by the consumer, and these are the things that regulators can help try and enforce, right? Instead, they're focused on stupid things like not letting companies buy companies sometimes when it's just for gaming. You know, there's a lot of stupid stuff that goes on with the regulators, but they don't focus on actually protecting the consumers sometimes, right? And that's something that is way overdue. Should have started with music. Should have started, with movies, a long time ago. But yeah, it hasn't. And like if they really start thinking about protecting the consumers, it'll be a good thing. But yeah, Microsoft's the only company that seems to have it to where it's actually important to them as well as a company to think about the future and think about how to make this system work, right? And as everybody is spreading around this news because Sarah Bond said that she's forming a team for this, right? But you really think about everything that they did in this generation, cross buy, cross save, cross progression, a play anywhere, gaming subscription, FPS boost, auto HDR, 4K upres, even on original Xbox games, full back compat across all 3 generations for the games that are available. Obviously, not all the games were available digitally or had the licenses available from way back then. But they're the only ones that have done all this, right? And I had a rant the other day on FSP about this because like they don't get any credit for it, and all of those things are in the name of game preservation, which the games media claims to all care about and talk about now that there's some kind of leaked information to talk about it with. But they haven't been talking about it all these years and giving credit to the company that's actually been promoting it and doing it. When I booted up the Series X, I immediately said this is my favorite console I've ever owned, right? Early on, people were asking questions. Yeah, Dreamcast or whatever, and I love a lot of these, but I had never bought a console before. When I turned it on, I automatically had my entire library that I've ever bought digitally, pretty much, and all of these experiences were better. That immediately made it my favorite piece of hardware that I'd ever bought because it added value to what I already own. And that's the vision that they should have for the future. The digital age is unquestioned at this point, and it should be something that all of these companies really think about how to protect and add value to their ecosystem for the consumers and have faith in the storefront. When everybody was dooming and glooming Xbox just a few weeks ago, before this uptick of positivity, I would have questioned every single person out there to look at it and tell me, who do you have more faith in the digital storefront going forward? Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo? If you buy a game today, who do you have most faith that you will be able to play that game 10 years from now on whatever device you own? I don't know of anybody in their right mind could say anything other than Xbox. PlayStation? Hell no. Nintendo? Definitely not. So, anyway, I think it's interesting. I think a lot of people are waking up. I see a lot of articles now. I see a lot of people starting to think about this stuff, talk about this stuff, and start to realize that, these are things that have already been in place, and that's a good thing that Xbox has been doing instead of them trying to downplay it or attack it for some reason. So yeah, we'll see. I think what all happens with the digital age when it's officially over, what the next consoles are going to look like, or the physical age when it's over. But I think, for me, it's over. Like for me, the physical it exists only in a sense if I randomly have this idea to get something physical or something. It's not anywhere thought to ever buy something physically anymore for video games. Only time I did was this generation was when Dirk was on the cover of NBA 2K, and I just bought it as a collector's piece, right? because I had to have Dirk. I had to have the box with Dirk on it.
Mm-hmm.
Been waiting over 20 years for that. You know.
Yep.
So
you have.
that's it, man. Like I don't know. The numbers don't lie.
No, they don't. They don't. And for me, I still buy a mix, right? I'm mostly digital, right? Obviously, especially PC, obviously. But I do buy a mix depending on the sale. I don't have a problem buying a physical copy if it's a good deal. So I'm still a mix. Do I still like the cases? Yes, I do. Right?
Real quick, Pong. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
No. Go ahead.
Luke is leaving, so I want to get to a super chat real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
$2 super chat from Xbox Expansion Pass. Appreciate you, Luke. Says PM and the PM rocks. And he said, "Yeah, gents, I got to run, but great episode. Been enjoying it since you jumped on."
You rock.
You rock, bro. It's great to see your show live, by the way, bro. All right, sorry, Paul.
No worries. I'm glad you got that. Luke's a big man in this community. We got to get a shout out in there for sure, Luke. Again, as somebody who does still buy physical, right, and it still likes the cases, and sure, convenience wise, do I hate getting up and putting a new disc in? No, because I've done it such a big part of my life. Do I still go, God, I got to change the disc? Yeah, I do. I sure do. But I still like physical discs. I still like the concept of physical discs. But obviously, I understand the future is digital. Again, my focus, and I think the focus of everybody should be talking about and continually talking about what do we do to protect ourselves as consumers and make our purchases move forward with us into the digital age, no matter what happens to these companies, no matter what happens to the servers. Again, multiplayer only games, it's a different story. Like, do I expect a company to keep their servers on into infinity? No, of course I don't. But any game that can be patched to have an offline mode should be required to have that ability in case the company decides to pull the plug. I think that should be standard on all of this stuff. And I think that, again, to Mav's point about the backwards compatibility, now that we've kind of transitioned into this stage where a lot of these systems are very similar in architecture, and that, going forward, unless something massive changes, that's going to continue, that yes, we should be expecting that we can play these games on the next console going forward. And I think that, again, Xbox is the only brand of the major three that are talking the way that they're talking, that have a fully dedicated team. Now a new one that has been set up to make sure that happens, no matter if they do go a different route, which they might be for the next gen with this hybrid console. They want to make sure that the libraries carry forward. Again, saying to people, well, you should just own your old console, keep your old console. That should not be the case. Again, when you upgrade on PC, when you upgrade your cards, I don't have to worry that my old games aren't going to play on that new card. They just work there. You can go all the way back. Hell, I can go play PC games that I was playing in high school. I can play them through the browser now, for God's sakes, right? Games that no longer are being made, that you can't buy on the Steam store or on the Epic store or on GOG, I can play in my freaking browser, okay, in their original form. Now, is that the best? No, it's not. But are they still available? They are. And that technology no longer exists. That old tech is long gone. But I can still play them. And people are doing much better with emulation. That's why emulation is so important to the future as well, and why we need to make sure that emulation is still around for the companies who refuse to get on board with making sure that their games still work in the future. It is important that the future generations are able to play the history of video games if they choose to do so. And it's important for us as consumers that our investment does stick around with us. So I agree 100%. Again, these stats, they were still a little shocking to me. Under 5%, Mav. Had you told me like 85%, I would have been like, okay. I did not know that it was already 10% in 2019. Like, I didn't know it was that low, but under 5% last year. Yo. And of course, like you said, that's including mobile and PC where there is no physical copies. So is that going to skew the percentages? Of course it is. But you got to think about those two markets. They're gigantic pieces of the pie in the gaming space for software. And that, again, under 5%, man. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm sorry, physical people. It's moved on. The world's moved on. That's just where we're at. So, anyways, great conversation there, Mavo. What should we do next here, Mav? What should we do next?
We should congratulate Lotus Esprit for the How's It Going super sticker with the $5.
What did he do? He did a super sticker. Oh, the £5 from Lotus Esprit with a super sticker. How's it going? It's going great, Lotus Esprit. Thank you for the support, continued support, sir. Appreciate you so much. Okay, Mav, let's get in. We're a little over. Let's get into.
Okay.
How do I want to approach it? Okay, let's go with the good stuff. Let's go with the good stuff here first. Star Wars Outlaws, brother. A game that is both high on, or I should say is high on both of our hype lists this year, has been for a considerable amount of time. It's been one of my most anticipated games of this year for a very, very long time. This is one game that I do believe can challenge Dragon's Dogma 2 this year for my personal game of the year. We'll see how it turns out. This, of course, is coming from Ubisoft. Massive is the developer, again, behind this Division series. They have the Snowdrop engine. They just made Avatar. They are making this game here, Star Wars Outlaws. But we got more information because there was some hands-on details from Game Informer that dropped this week, Mav. Shout out to Shinobi602, again, who does great work out here on X. Broke down the Game Informer article with some of the main bullet points about this game. And on top of that, they dropped a story trailer this week, Mav, about 1.5 minutes long, 2-minute long story trailer, showing off, of course, K-Vess, the main character, Nyx, her stupid little companion, and kind of what the story was going to be about. So let me read through kind of the breakdown of the Game Informer. Quote, excited about how far you can manipulate the various systems in the game. You will visit recognizable places like Tatooine, Kijimi, and Akiva, as well as new ones like the moon Toshara, created from scratch by Massive. Team focused on creating compact, dense city experiences in Mirogana, Toshara's capital, with lots of activities rather than making it expansive with not much to do. There are shops, arcade games, betting areas, and sabak tables in universe card game. Each city has a cantina, which serves as the central area for getting intel and finding work. Reputation system represents your standing with the crime syndicates, can range from terrible to excellent. Having good rep with any of them can have benefits like coming to your aid when you're in trouble in the open world, offering special stock, or letting you walk around their territory freely. Your creature companion, Nyx, can be used to distract guards, take them out, and stealth your way around. Using stealth can help avoid your reputation taking a hit if you get in and out of places undetected. Stealth gameplay, Mav. Stealth gameplay, brother. Disable alarm system security cameras to avoid detection. Being detected will drop your reputation. Choice examples give damaging information you found on one job to one syndicate versus the other, affects your rep. Your speeder can be summoned instantaneously and feels excellent and smooth to drive around. You can upgrade your weapons with new abilities to access new areas. A little Metroidvania to it as well. Story trailer plus all this information, Matt.
Yep.
I was already off the charts hyped. Again, for the old school nostalgia Star Wars guy here who does not like the Disney-fied Star Wars, like Nyx, I was ridiculously excited for this game, but hearing all this information, hearing that you're going to have choices, the reputation, the upgrades, you're going to be able to stealth your way, you're going to be rewarded for stealthing your way through stuff. I am getting more excited than even I originally was for this game. From what I saw the story trailer, sure, did it have some current Disney stupid lines to it? Sure, but the acting still was well done. And overall, I thought the story was cool. I liked where they're taking Kay. I like how they're treating her in this game in that gray area where you are doing dirty work, black market work, not necessarily on the up and up, not necessarily turning into a goody two shoes. Still living that life. You got betting areas in this game. Like, this sounds like a Star Wars world that I've been looking for quite a while, and it's looking that way now, Mav. What did you think about Star Wars Outlaws and the story trailer, and then some of the information we got from the Game Informer article?
It looks good. I watched the trailer. It kind of looked like I expected it to look. I didn't read the article, but you just kind of broke it down.
Yeah.
Overall,
Yeah.
like I'm excited mostly from what you said about the stealth stuff. Besides that, like I think the story trailer just kind of added to the fact that it's going to have a deep, compelling story to it, and the areas I liked the environments a lot.
Yes.
It had showed a lot of characters that I feel like is going to be interesting. There's been some weird dialogue about the trailer and the characters going on around.
We'll talk about it here in a second.
But like overall, man, I liked what I saw. It looks like Ubisoft has a potential hit on their hands, as long as people don't try and kill the game.
Hey, we're in 2024, Mav. What else is freaking new, right?
Yeah.
Hate trains get all the clicks, right? Yeah. So again, this community, there's a lot of people in this community. I've said this multiple times. The Clown Show likes to talk about games. They don't actually like to play games. I do believe that. I believe they consider themselves gamers, but I don't believe they actually enjoy gaming. They enjoy the discourse around gaming more so than the games themselves. I've said this for a long time. Not obviously everybody, but there's a very vocal, loud group of them in this community who constantly needs to talk. There are some valid discussions happening. There's some invalid discussions happening. Star Wars Outlaws, to Mav's, a point there, has been wrapped up in the ugly Western character conversation now.
I'm so over this whole thing, man. I
listen, there's a conversation to be had about Western devs and what potentially they are making creative choices to do with their games. Okay. There is some potential, valid points to what the Western devs do versus other parts of the world and how they treat their characters and what they've been doing to them. Kay Vess looks fine to me. She looks like a rugged character in the seedy underbelly that grew up on the streets. Yes, the model that they scanned for her, obviously she looks better than the character. They made some very weird choices with how to alter her appearance in the game. And that's fine. Again, that's creative choice. Devs can do what they want to. It's up to the consumers to decide. For me, like I've always pointed out, I like looking at beautiful people. I think that video games are a power fantasy. Okay. So if a character is beautiful, that's great. If a character is ugly, does that stop me from playing the game? Hell no, of course not. But why would it? If the game's good and the gameplay is good and the main character so happens to be ugly, again, I lived through every single generation of video games. I've seen some of the ugliest freaking characters ever created just because tech sucked. Now, is that an excuse for the devs nowadays to do certain things on purpose? No, it's not. But again, is it going to stop me from enjoying a video game because Kay Vess is not a supermodel or is not exactly representing who she was modeled after, who's a beautiful actress? No, it's not. As long as the story's good, as long as the character's good, as long as the writing's good, the acting, all that kind of stuff, the gameplay mechanics, that's the most important thing. I'm having fun. Am I having fun is the most important thing. If I'm allowed to create a beautiful character or there's a beautiful character in there, great. Fantastic. Bonus points. It's beautiful. Stellar Blade, chef's kiss. It's fantastic. But am I going to sit here and trash a game and say, I hope this game fails? I'm never going to play this game because Kay Vess doesn't look exactly like the actress they modeled her after. And in fact, I think she's ugly. Hell no, I will not do that. Again, that's not why I'm here in this hobby. Okay. So I'm not going to do that. Can I have conversations about certain things that are going on? Sure, I could. Sometimes I choose not to. I stay out of it because it just turns ugly and the sides can't have a normal conversation about it. But I think that this current discourse around Kay Vess is a little bit overblown. I think she's gotten swept up into the whole Stellar Blade conversation and the other conversations that have been happening over the past couple of years about this conversation. I think generally speaking, in a lot of the shots, she looks pretty damn normal. And again, she looks like a girl who grew up on the streets and is a part of the seedy underbelly. She's not going to be wearing full-fledged makeup in a Star Wars movie because that's not the group she's a part of. She's not of the upper elite. She is a part of the street gangs, right? She is a part of the crime. So I don't expect her to look like that, but I think she looks pretty decent. So I think it's dumb. Mav, I understand why you're exhausted by it. I get exhausted about a lot of this stuff. And the other part of the discourse this week, Mav, and I do want to get your opinion on this, sir. Did people suddenly wake up and realize that Ubisoft offers 3 versions of their games and that those price points have always been pretty ridiculous? Like, again, we've bumped it up $10 because we're now at 70 for the base game versus 60. But going back to Watch Dogs and maybe even before then, we've had a regular version, a gold version, and an ultimate version. This is what they've always done. But for some reason with Star Wars Outlaws, there's outrage this week, man.
Because of Star Wars. It's because of Star Wars.
Is that what we really...
Because that's what happened with Battlefront 2 with the loot boxes.
Well,
that had been existing for a while in tons of other games. All of a sudden,
that was EA.
And all of a sudden, like, it's in Star Wars. It's like, oh, what the hell's going on with my video games? You know, and it's like, now all of a sudden everybody's upset. And I think that it's just when it's a Star Wars IP, it just brings like extra attention because you're reaching such a large appeal to people. And I think people just look at things and over focus on negativity when it's anything around something they love so much, right? So, people just need to stop picking and choosing when and where to get upset about things. Like, because there's way worse examples and has been for a long time about a lot of different stuff that you just continuously ignore because it's just you didn't care about it. Then all of a sudden, this is the one. Let's all rally against this thing, and that can be with the character thing too, like we talked about. Like, like there's so many games that have different looking characters, and they have for like a long time. Like, there's ugly characters, there's beautiful looking characters of all different genders and everything, and then like some reason, like certain games, people decide when to get upset about them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily really understand a lot of that thought process when it comes to people and in games. Like, Fable's a big talking point as well with that. But like, I've never played Fable game because the characters are attractive. They just never have been. That's not what the game is like, you know?
Right.
And so, with a lot of times now, I guess they use mocap and they use actors and stuff, so people see the real actors and actresses are like, why did they not make it look like the real person? It was like, because they're making a video game and they're trying to tell a story involving a certain kind of character. It's not always going to use the exact replica of what the person looks like. Some games do, some games don't. You look at Hellblade 2, works for that game. But now you have people saying that she's not even attractive enough to play in that role. I've seen that kind of stuff going on, and it's actually the real actress. And I'm like, what are people like thinking about this stuff? Like, just there's plenty of all kinds of things out there for everybody. I understand that there's certain situations where things seem forced, but I think a lot of the conversation is forced as well from people in certain aspects to these things because they pick and choose when to focus on something as opposed to just letting the actual developers make what they want to make. And in the case of Star Wars Outlaws, it seems like they made the kind of character that they wanted to make. So I'm
Mhm.
I'm actually happy that they got their vision across. I think it looks great. Um, but yeah, with the different practices and price points and stuff like that, it's the same thing. This has been going on for a long time. I will say this: if you don't want to pay for the $150 version, check out Ubisoft Plus.
Correct. That's where I'm going to bet.
Yeah. So you get the biggest version in that.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah.
value.
And the
Um,
3-day access.
and
You
you
get the
get
early
access
access.
on PC and
Hey,
console.
and can we say this real quick too, Mav? Can we stop with the intellectual dishonesty about being outraged about the price for early access and stop ignoring the fact that it's not you're just getting early access, you're getting the DLC, the season pass or the battle pass. You're not paying an extra $30 to play the game early. You're actually, yes, that's a part of the bonus, right? But you're actually getting the DLC that would normally cost that or more once the game launched. And if you're a person who already knows you're going to buy the DLC or the battle pass, why would you not buy it to get the early access? But stop acting as if that extra $30 is just for 3 days early access. It's not. You're getting a lot more from the devs. And again, if you want to talk about whether or not the devs should be doing this, that's fine. That's a discussion. If it's not valuable to you, absolutely speak with your wallet. Don't have FOMO. I've talked a million times about getting over FOMO. I don't have FOMO 99 or 95% of the time anymore. I don't have FOMO. I have bought the majority of Ubisoft games on sale because everybody knows within 30 to 60 days, Ubisoft will put that game on sale. I have bought my Ubisoft games years later for the Ultimate Editions for $10, $15 when they're really cheap. So yes, absolutely vote with your wallet. If you think it's too expensive, absolutely. I am, like I just said, going to play this game through Ubisoft Plus. I will subscribe to Ubisoft Plus. I will play this game. I will try out Avatar. I will probably try out a couple of the other games that I missed from Ubisoft. And then whether that lasts 1 month or 2 months, I will cancel Ubisoft Plus. When the DLC drops for this game, I will subscribe back into Ubisoft Plus and I will play it again that month. That's how I'm planning on doing it. Now, if there's a big sale on the Ultimate Edition down the road where I'm like, I'll just pick it up, I'll buy it then. But that's my judgment. But again, this intellectual dishonesty that people are paying $30 for 3 days of early access, it's bullshit, bro. That's just a part of the bonuses. I hate that shit.
Yeah, it's been a thing. It's people. These companies are going to try and find ways to incentivize you to paying more money. And if you have the personal responsibility to wait, you could actually wait like 2 months and buy this game and probably the Ultimate Edition for like a third of the price that you pay at launch. Like, I get it. FOMO's a bitch, right? I get it a lot too. But I'm glad Ubisoft Plus exists because I don't have to deal with that if I don't want to.
Yeah,
you know.
Absolutely.
The whole cross between PC and Xbox and all that stuff, that's like the biggest benefit for me. Like, I like to migrate. I give props to Ubisoft for that, actually, because they're one of the few companies that actually will give you that kind of entitlement with that subscription service to where you can play where you want. And as somebody that plays and mixes between console and PC, I fucking love that, man. Like, I was surprised when I actually learned it, but like, that's a great benefit that most publishers don't give you. So I'm not going to bitch about the fact that they're trying to sell like a collector's edition for a lot of money. If you don't like it, just don't buy it.
Right.
That's simple.
Absolutely.
You still get you can still get the main game. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And if you think this is all a scam, it's been a scam for a long time. Like I said, this has been Ubisoft. If we're talking specific Ubisoft, this is Ubisoft's model for a very long freaking time with their single player games. Okay, very long time. This has not changed. It just didn't suddenly happen with Star Wars outside of the $10 increase for each level because of the $10 increase on the base game, which was been in effect now. But Assassin's Creed Valhalla had the same setup. Again, this is the way they do things. And again, if you want to argue that single player games should not be like this, that's fine. I can hear your argument. We've talked about the greediness of the companies. Again, I don't want to hear billion and trillion dollar companies complaining about their bottom lines when they are bragging about their bottom lines every quarter when they talk about profits and revenue. I don't like to hear that shit. I think it's BS. It's all garbage. But at the end of the day, right, you only can speak for yourself by either buying it or not buying it, buying the lower version or buying the higher version, or subscribing to Ubisoft Plus. You've got options. That's the only thing you can do. But these companies, again, Ubisoft has always done these 3 levels. This hasn't changed at all. So whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm excited for Star Wars Outlaws. I think it looks great. I'm personally super hyped. I love the gameplay I've seen. Massive is a great developer. Snowdrop Engine is one of my favorite engines out there. It is gorgeous. I can't wait to see this thing in action, from space to planets to all these different atmospheres. Again, the little details I've seen in some of the gameplay, I'm like, yo, Massive is putting a lot of heart into this game. I hope it all turns out. We won't know until we actually get to play it. But I will be there day one at Ubisoft Plus, 3 days early, playing it come August the 30th, which is the official launch date. We got that as well this week. A little bit later than I was hoping, Matt. I was hoping summer, but that's fine. August 30th, plenty to play up until that point. August 30th it is. Black Myth Wukong is supposed to be out during that time as well. So pretty brave, but Star Wars is a beast. Always has been.
It's going to sell no matter what, and it will for a while too.
Yeah, it will. It for sure will. Again, if I just wish I could leave Nix on board the ship or kill him or something.
Yeah, maybe anyways, launch him into space.
Bro, I would love that. I would love to eject him out the freaking air dock for sure. I would in a heartbeat, man. I just leave me alone. I don't need a little animal with me. Anyways.
That just made me think of something.
What?
Something that hasn't been done before with games, really.
Okay.
That they could do.
What?
You know how like movies have like shared universes and stuff, right? So
yeah.
Okay, so like what if like these games started doing like shared universe where your items can transfer between your different games that you play, and like what if I could send Nix to Starfield and eject him in the fucking space there?
Oh, that'd be dope as
yeah, like it's connected games in a way where your files can be transferred between games with like items and maybe characters and stuff like that.
That'd be dope, man. Or if I could lock him in a room with Vasco and just let Vasco take care of business. Stone Cold Killer.
Imagine like all these story based like MCU games, you know,
so cool.
Where you can like, you know, take your let's say you buy Iron Man by EA or whatever, and like you can take your Iron Man and put them in like your other like, let's say the like Black Panther game or something. There's like a Black Panther game. You could like use your Iron Man as like a fucking pawn. That'd be dope. Yeah.
But that's why modding exists too. People do it all the time. But I know what you're saying. Actual
data and items and shared universe games, guys. Come on.
Let's go for it. Maybe we will see some of that in the future.
Yeah, I think so. That's got to be a
thing. We got lots of crossover. We got lots of crossovers. Why not just make it a thing where like it happens? Like, that'd be pretty dope. All right, let's see here. Matt, we could be on the cusp of getting some Activision Blizzard games into Game Pass, right? Idle Soft reported today that the Spyro Reignited trilogy was just added to the Microsoft Store for PC. So it looks like they're starting. Obviously we got Diablo 4, but the other games could be starting to roll out here. So again, you guys keep your eyes open for this. There might be some surprise announcements coming up of certain batches of games or a single game here or there showing up in the Game Pass from that back catalog. But this is pretty cool, Matt, that it's in the Microsoft Store for PC. Probably one of the first games we'll see in Game Pass outside of Diablo 4, huh?
This process has started. This is probably like my migration of all these are going to start showing up. This is probably just one of the first ones. And this is before the next step is Game Pass for all these. So I'm just curious. We'll keep an eye on the store and see what all gets added.
We're gonna have so much to play, man. Yeah. It's gonna be crazy. Oh my god, unbelievable. There was a story this week, broke by Grub this week. Jeff Grubb, and he had stated that EA was starting, right, or had, I should say, kind of started the initial process of looking at Dead Space 2 remake, but they now shelved it because the Dead Space 1 remake did not sell well enough in their eyes, right? And then we obviously also got word this week that Motive, right, who did the Dead Space remake, they were the ones that were starting to look at Dead Space 2 as a possible remake. had been moved, or not moved, but I should say portion of their team is going to help on the new Battlefield, along with still making their Iron Man game, right? So we got those two things in conjunction. Grubb reported this. Obviously, it went far and wide. Jason Schreier backed up Grubb, said he had the same information that this was happening. EA actually came out in a rare moment and denied those rumors, Mav, that Dead Space 2 remake was never a thing. Now, I said in the DMs, even before we got the response back from Grubb, EA, I'll say this, Shinobi posted, EA shot down the rumor that Dead Space 2 remake was in development and canceled. There is no validity to the story. I said in the DMs that EA is playing word games.
Yeah.
That Dead Space 2, well, yeah, technically wasn't in development. It was
they
in
haven't even titled it yet.
Right. It had a project name, right, according to Grubb, but it was in concept phase, right? This was not in active development. So they're not lying, but they're making it seem like they never did this because the backlash started immediately, right? People were out here going, oh, great, here we go. Thanks, EA. Once again, you guys do an awesome job with the Dead Space remake. I went back and looked. There was articles. It was #1 seller the first month it was out. So I don't know if it just trailed off massively after that, but it seemed like everything was trending up for Dead Space remake. People were praising the hell out of it. Did a great job. Motive was awesome. So people were looking forward to Dead Space 2 and maybe even eventually Dead Space 3 and the co-op experience again, which Steele and I had a great time with going back to. That we would get them all. We get the trilogy again, kind of like Mass Effect. But so Grubb came back after EA denied the rumors and said, I give you my permission to believe EA if you want. But whenever a company says that isn't true, but they don't specify which part of the story they are talking about, well, yeah, Dead Space 2 was definitely being planned. It had a code name and they aren't making it now. So Grubb's doubling down and saying, no, his sources are legit, that this was happening. And again, I tend to believe him and I don't tend to believe EA. And again, the concept phase is technically not development, but they gave it a project name. So, but no matter what, we're not getting Dead Space 2 remake anytime soon or ever. And Motive is now going to help out with Battlefield, which as a Battlefield fan, as a Zampella believer, Motive's work speaks for itself. Kind of okay, cool. You adding more talent to that team. All right, that's fine. I'm glad to hear. What's your thoughts on Dead Space 2 not making and Motive moving to Battlefield, Mav?
Good for Battlefield, bad for Dead Space fans.
Yeah.
That's really, I was just like, well, you're excited for Dead Space 2. Sorry, but I think ultimately it's a miss if they don't continue that. I think that they should. It was the first game in a long time and it did pretty damn good. So I don't know what their expectations are, but they did a good job on it. It was reviewed really well. It didn't take them that long from when it was announced to when a game actually came out. They were really transparent throughout the whole development cycle. Everything. I would like to see them be able to continue with that. However, if they're not, and they're working on Battlefield stuff, maybe it's better for Battlefield fans that they're going to be able to get some more polished Battlefield at launch. I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it said there's only a small amount of people working on Battlefield from Motive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what the rest of Motive's doing.
Iron Man. Their Iron Man game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when is that supposed to come out? Yeah. I remember. Sorry. I remember when is that supposed to come out?
We don't have a date. They haven't even officially teased it. Like we got an announcement for it, but we never even really saw anything from it. Right. So,
well, I mean, it's hard to be okay. So they got a big full single player based kind of game project going on right now.
Yes.
And they have a small team just helping on Battlefield.
Yep.
It's a lot for them to do another whole big full single player game right now. Right.
Right.
So maybe they release Iron Man and then they can revisit Dead Space in the future, or maybe they'll just continue to run on with that franchise if it's successful. Right. I don't know.
Which is certainly possible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like they're just they're only a Battlefield support studio.
No. They're still working on Iron Man, and so that's fine. I'm curious to see what they do with Iron Man. Of course, everybody's hoping that they're just going to use the Anthem flight mechanics, but like I said, it's EA, so chances are they're going a completely different
Did they
direction.
say what engine Iron Man's going to be in? Is
Was
it
it Unreal?
Frostbite or
Was it
Unreal?
Unreal Iron
Just
Man?
curious.
Yeah,
Because Anthem was
game
Frostbite, I believe. I'm
engine.
not 100% on that, but
Unreal Engine 5.
okay.
Yep.
So I don't know if they use the same stuff from Anthem.
No, but they should. They better make that tech. Again, it's gonna. It's gonna happen because everybody who played Anthem,
Yeah, it was like,
which
oh, this
was
is Iron
millions of
Man.
people.
Yeah,
This is freaking the perfect Iron Man
Yeah.
flight mechanics. Like you can't get any better than this. Like this is it. But like I said, it's EA, so I'm not holding my breath on that.
Yeah.
They'll screw them.
Do you want to touch the Tomb Raider stuff?
No. not again, there's discussions that be had,
Yeah.
but people don't want to have real discussions. It
Yeah.
turns into good versus evil at every moment, and it's like there's no comment, there's nothing to this. I mean, okay, I'll since you brought it up and since the chat's here, I mean, we can talk briefly about it. That's fine. Again, I'm not
Just curious. You don't have
this
to.
stuff annoys me. No, this stuff just annoys me. If anybody doesn't know, been watching the Tomb Raider stuff. Obviously, everybody knows Crystal Dynamics is working on a new Tomb Raider.
She's no longer a Tomb Raider.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get to that. Obviously, Crystal Dynamics, after the Tomb Raider trilogy remake was released, right, 1 through 3, Crystal Dynamics themselves, because they didn't do the remake or remaster, whatever you want, it's a remaster.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do the remaster, put out a statement basically disowning all their previous work and saying how horrible it was and that they don't approve of any of the original.
For it.
They apologized, and again, I can't stand this shit. So they did all of that. So obviously we know the mindset that they're in. Now we've gotten some artwork too of the new Lara Croft. They changed her again. They've talked about in the past modernizing her. I didn't think she looked particularly bad. I didn't think she looked particularly good. Again, there's a conversation to be had about Western devs and some agendas when it comes to certain aspects of video games. That's a discussion we can have. But I think Crystal Dynamics has made it clear that they are distancing themselves from the original Tomb Raiders and what they were about. Word dropped this week, and this comes from Tomb Raider Tweet. There's a tabletop game that's coming out about Tomb Raider, okay? And that's what this was actually about. But it's being worked on in conjunction with Crystal Dynamics. So Evil Hat Productions and Crystal Dynamics are the ones that are making this tabletop game. British adventurer Lara Croft will transition from being a raider of tombs to a seeker of truth, as Evil Hat Productions and Crystal Dynamics seek to redefine the Tomb Raider series in order to escape its colonial past. All right. So I will continue this. I might as well give everybody the full context here because again, I hate when context is lost left out. So British adventurer Lara Croft will transition from being a raider of tombs to a seeker of truth as Evil Hat Productions and Crystal Dynamics seeks to redefine the Tomb Raider series in order to escape a history wounded by colonialism, according to an excerpt from the official Tomb Raider Shadows of Truth RPG rulebook. Quote, raiding as depicted in the original Tomb Raider games and stories involves going to ancient tombs and historical sites of different civilizations and acquiring artifacts. It operates on the assumption of finders keepers that grants raiders with the means and the drive to claim ownership of the artifacts, regardless of whether they have any historical or cultural claim to the treasure, unquote. Later games released in the franchise have started the work of addressing this by having Lara Croft acknowledge her past mistakes and try to understand and show respect for the cultures and communities she comes into contact with. She has also worked to reform raider culture and raise the awareness of her peers. Lara no longer decorates her mantle with mythic artifacts as a raider. She prioritizes seeking out the truth. Much of this game is inspired by her humanity, struggle with her heroism. I I can't speak tonight, and her tenacity. We believe that all three aspects are important component in creating a game that celebrates history and culture while acknowledging the respect and work required to live in a world wounded by colonialism. In this game, we seek to continue that work alongside Crystal Dynamics by creating a sandbox for you to tell stories that address colonialist themes in play and create your own stories of respect and support for the people and cultures your seekers encounter. All right. So as Mav said, if this is the tabletop RPG, okay? But they are working with Crystal Dynamics. Crystal Dynamics has made the statements about their previous games in public. So one can assume that this is the direction for the new video game as well. Now, we won't know. Again, we know nothing about this other than the announcement. We don't know actually how it's going to play out. We don't know what the story is going to be. None of that. But obviously, if this is the new direction of Crystal Dynamics, this will probably be a part of the video game. So, Tomb Raider is no longer going to be about raiding tombs. So, Mav, go ahead. You want to talk about this a little bit? Tell me what you think about this.
Yes.
What direction?
You already know where I stand on all the like character stuff, and you know what I mean, with the looks and all that kind of stuff. And here's where I'm kind of like different, you know, because I understand the real world aspects to like history and all these kind of things, and people always wanting to be better and improve, and you know, culture, learning from lessons and all that kind of stuff, right? But like, it's the same time here, we're talking about fucking video games, you know? It's like, it seems like they're going on this like apology tour about a video game and their character and the history of it that nobody else is really talking about or upset about. I don't know if there's like big outcries against the Tomb Raider IP and the history of it and everything that's going on. But if there is, I haven't really seen it. So it's like they're apologizing for a history of a video game that just depicted a genre that's been existing for a very, very long time. And it's a genre of video game. It's a genre of movies. It's based on real world things. Right. And yeah, you can have your own opinions on all that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to ever try and argue somebody that has a problem with some of the real world stuff that goes on with this. Like, obviously not. But like, we're talking about a character in a video game at the end of the day, and completely changing one of the most iconic characters in history of video games and apologizing for the character that has been one of the most iconic characters in video games is kind of weird and strange and seemingly something that nobody's asking for. So it seems like kind of going a little too far with this, for the sake of their own self-conscious of the character. And if you feel that bad about it, like this character that you've created and invested in for so long and done all these things with about all your different things, so leave it alone. Right? Like, I don't know. I don't want to see these characters become something that's, we're so afraid to depict parts of history or parts of like motivations or aspirations of people, because it signifies something that is negative in a lot of different regards. And if they wanted to tell a story in a different way, that's cool and all too, right? But the twist on it is saying all this stuff and saying all these things like about it just kind of like makes you like, oh, that's not exciting. You know, I'm not excited. Definitely to play that tabletop game, and I'm definitely not going to be excited to play the video game if it's the same thing. Like, I mean, if they talk about it the same way, I don't know. Like, it's just weird marketing. Like, It's like, be a good person, the game. You know? Like I get that we all want to be, right? But like we also play games where you chop people's fucking heads off, right? That's not really accepted in the real world either. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is a discussion that can't be had. We can see the discourse online. Again, it turns into personal insults. It turns into everybody calling each other outrageous names over this stuff. Because again, that's all been lost. There's only good versus evil nowadays in a lot of people's minds, and it's awful. Again, for me, if this is the direction they're gonna go with her, it's their choice to do so, just like it was Volition's choice to take Saints Row and turn it into what they turned it into, and we saw how that turned out. The studios no more, and that franchise will probably never be touched again. Everybody has a choice. You can do what you can do. I don't like the forced talk about this. If you want to tell a different story, that is fine. I like subtle things. Yeah. I don't like having stuff shoved down my throat. Pause. I think that again, Lara Croft is an absolute one of the biggest characters, one of the most popular characters in video game history. She became popular, and why people are loving the remasters for what she originally was. The newer versions that came out, I still enjoyed those because they were pretty brutal and they put her through a lot of hell.
Yeah.
But she still wasn't tomb raiding. The original games were about the tomb raiding. Indiana Jones would be Indiana Jones if he was trying to tell a story about colonialism and culture and all that kind of stuff. That wasn't Indiana Jones. He was fighting against the Nazis, but he was raiding tombs.
Yeah, to put it in a Western museum.
Right, to protect it. And again, I understand that nowadays we look at that stuff differently. I understand that we've returned artifacts in real life to some of the cultures that, the museums got them from. Like, I understand that that's all changed, but this is a video game.
Yeah.
And this was not Lara Croft's story. So again, as devs, as owners of the IP, they could do what they want. That's fine, but I'm not going to play it. My point is, if you want to do this, create a new character and tell a whole different story. Create a whole new character, create a whole new video game and tell a different story, but keep Lara the way she is. But if this is the direction they take her, it was a great run for Lara, right? It was an awesome run. She will always remain an icon. She will remain an icon for all the reasons that Crystal Dynamics now hate. She's not going to remain an icon because of what Crystal Dynamics does with her currently if they go this route. She will remain an icon as a sexy archaeologist Tomb Raider who was great at solving puzzles, who was awesome at combat, and who had that power fantasy. She will not be remembered for this narrative that they're trying to run with now if they go this route.
Yeah, they created one of the most strongest female characters ever.
Correct.
And it's like they're apologizing for it.
Yeah, they're apologizing for things they don't need to apologize to, in my opinion. They're apologizing for the way that people think of things now, which they don't have to, because again, the way people think now, I don't always agree with either. Again, that's fine. That's just me. I'm old school. I am what I am. But I just think that this is, if they're going to go this route, this is a terrible direction. And again, they will find out. Again, consumers will decide. Again, Saints Row found out. Volition found out real quick. And if, I have a feeling that this will be part 2 if they do this with Lara, depending on how heavy-handed it is. But if they take this type of language they're using here for the tabletop and they use that towards the video game, it's going to be heavy-handed, and it's not going to play well with a lot of people. So we'll see. I just don't agree with it. But anyways, it's not Tomb Raider anymore. It's not.
An interesting thing to see pop up, man. So
it is. It was kind of weird. Caught a lot of people off guard, and a lot of people didn't even notice it because it was kind of out of the blue. It was about the tabletop. But again, when you see Crystal Dynamics attached to it, you got to assume, along with their other public statements, that this
based on what they said in the past.
This is their philosophy. Yep, exactly. Angelina Jolie is Lara more than most Laras ever have been. You are correct. That's what she was made to be. Anyways, all right. Let's see here. What else we got here, Mav? Mav, something we talked about during the ABK deal, something that we definitely predicted was going to happen, did happen this week. Let me bring this up here real quick. China had removed World of Warcraft, NetEase, and I say China because, again, every company is basically connected to the Chinese government at some level over there. So it was NetEase, okay? NetEase and Activision Blizzard got into a battle over something. NetEase canceled World of Warcraft, and it was no longer available in China. That's a huge loss. World of Warcraft was extremely popular in China, okay? Yeah. Huge loss. This happened. Everybody stuck to their guns. Bobby Kotick being Bobby Kotick, Mr. Stubborn, done. Mr. Snake, done. So whatever. Costs the company a lot of money. Something we talked about, Mav, that I thought, and you were on the same level as me. A lot of us were on the same. One of the first things we thought that Phil and Satya would fix was this. Okay, yeah. If you're going to buy Activision Blizzard, you're going to get World of Warcraft back into China. And my point was, yeah, when Satya picks up the phone to talk to you, or when Phil picks up the phone to talk to you representing Microsoft, it's a little different than Bobby Kotick and Activision giving you a call over at NetEase. And so I said that they were going to smooth things out, and they did. Phil, Blizzard Entertainment put out a post this week, says our legendary worlds are for all to share, and that includes our passionate Chinese community. We are pleased to announce a new agreement with NetEase to bring Blizzard games back to mainland China. Thank you for your patience and support. Phil followed that up with a quote. Quote tweeted it, quote posted it, whatever you want to call it nowadays. Thanks to the incredible work done by Blizzard Entertainment and NetEase to renew our commitment to players, we'll soon welcome back millions of community members in China to our Blizzard universes. This is exciting for everyone at Xbox Blizzard and for our players everywhere. Yeah, and again, Phil's giving the credit to Blizzard Entertainment. I can guarantee you this was a conversation with Satya, Phil, and the head of NetEase saying, we own them now. Let's do this. Let's get this done. Microsoft does have a lot of sway over there. Obviously, Windows, again, Microsoft, one of the world's biggest companies, if not the biggest one. They've got a whole lot of pull when it comes to this stuff. They got it back in there. Good news for World of Warcraft. Good news for China players who obviously were lost. They lost their accounts completely. 1,000% accounts deleted, bro. It sucks.
Crazy.
But good news. So that was kind of a big deal today for the WoW community and for Blizzard. That is a good move that will definitely help out. Man, we talked about it a little bit. We've talked about it many times, but the future direction of Xbox, potential hybrid console. We had Phil doing interviews recently talking about the handheld situation, talking about the UI in particular, how he wants the UI on all the handhelds and one that they may create themselves, which we know they are doing, to feel like the Xbox experience. He wants this continuity across all devices. Wherever you're playing, he wants anybody to pop in to feel like they are in the Xbox ecosystem. And he felt that a big problem was Windows. And again, it's funny because now he's kind of over the head of Windows because Windows is underneath the Xbox division, right? And so he said that that's been a problem. It just doesn't feel like Xbox, and it's not as friendly as Xbox. And we know this. We know that their PC store hasn't been good for a long time. It's a mess. The UI isn't right. Sounds like they're testing some things out. Tom Warren over at The Verge this week, Mav, put up an article. Microsoft is bringing parts of its Xbox dashboard to the web with Party Chat and more. A new Xbox Cloud gaming interface now gives you direct access to Xbox Party Chat, messaging, notifications, and much more. So, Mav, we've heard them working on a lot of this stuff behind the scenes, right? We've heard bits and pieces, whether they go with Intel or they go with AMD again or Nvidia, they're trying to fix their PC side of things, all this kind of stuff. Obviously, the cloud is a big portion of what they're trying to do. Now, again, depending on what day of the week or where they're at when they're interviewed, cloud is obviously growing no matter what. They all admit that cloud's growing, especially in certain markets around the world. They know that that's going to be massive to them. Maybe not the US per se, where it's used, according to Sarah Bond, under oath at the testimony that, it's mostly used for downloading demos or trying the game out prior to the download completing. But in other markets, it seems like that people are using it to play completely. Well, to Phil's point, he wants this continuity. If they go hybrid, if they start, moving the console closer to PC, like we've speculated on, they're going to have to merge all this stuff and they're going to have to find ways to do it. And obviously Phil's made it a priority. So testing this in the cloud, bringing some of that functionality to the cloud, it's kind of a big move, don't you think?
It is, because that's the unification of everything. Like, that's how you're going to be able to play everything everywhere. And it adds even more when you talk about the fact that they're going to have, which Phil earlier said they hope to have it this year, where you can play your games library on the cloud, right? So add that to this component, it starts to make a lot of sense. This is probably a step in that direction because you're going to need this really for all the kind of games that people are going to be wanting to play that way. Then you add the future handhelds and unifying this on the other handhelds for third parties. Apple starting to open up their stuff a little bit more as well.
Emulators.
So like all these different aspects, you look at the future and you kind of really see where that's going, and it's important for them to have a good experience as many places as possible. So this is the easiest. The cloud is the one way. It's always maybe the fallback option, all the time, but it should be the option that's always there no matter what you have. So if that's a decent experience, becomes more palatable for a lot of people, and having these kind of features is definitely important. One thing I would like to ask while we're here, and we're talking about this, when I'm console streaming, right? Because I do console streaming all the time, right? Because I'm in bed, I'm gonna have my tablet. I have a Galaxy tablet, like one of the good ones that has like the OLED screen and stuff on it that has good size. So it's like really good looking on there, even when I'm console streaming. Like, please let me access the fucking store while I'm console streaming. Like, please, if I want to install something, like, or buy something, and let me access the store when I'm console streaming. It is so stupid that I can't access the store while I'm console streaming. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's some kind of protection for the consumers and all that kind of stuff. But I just find a way to make it work for me,
just for Mav.
Like, I just, if I want to buy something or install something or even look at the store, I can't. Let me do it, please.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, I'd have to go. I would literally have to go to the like Xbox.com and look on the store on the website in order to buy something from my tablet. Like, let me do it from my console streaming.
Yeah. That's part of everything they have to do if they're going to make this all work, Mav. And their ultimate vision is one unified ecosystem, no matter what screen you're on or how you're accessing that ecosystem. And it's all going to be the same flawlessly. All that stuff has to be fixed. All that stuff has to be worked on, whether it's security issues or not. It's something that you guys got to figure out. Again, this vision is big. It's not.
It could be an Apple thing, like maybe or Android. Maybe they're blocking it because they don't want to allow you to at storefronts. I don't know. I don't know why it exists. Maybe I can do it. Just use the Xbox, like back out of the stream, go into the Xbox app, buy something that way. Like, but just let me have the whole experience.
Yep. No, I agree. They'll figure. They're investing way too much. They're definitely moving forward with this. They're testing and trying out new things. A lot right now, and you could see it. They're prepping. They're prepping for next gen. They're all in here. Last thing I got, Mav, is a lot of people probably saw the headlines go around, and again, people please read. I know that in this day and age, that it's just easier to read the headlines, but they do stuff on purpose. and it gives
The
you the
headlines,
wrong
yeah.
impression about what's being actually talked about. So I saw outrage at this. I saw people talking about this headline,
Yeah.
but they obviously had not read the article.
Mhm.
So the article today this week was from VGC, and it was Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Karch believes that the $70 game will eventually become a thing of the past. I just don't think it's sustainable. And of
Immediately,
course,
everybody thought that all the games are going to 80 now. I read that. Immediately. Oh, they finally understand. You know what I mean?
yes.
But like
Oh my
everybody saw
God.
that as like, oh, 80 or 90
Oh, here we
dollars.
go.
That's the way
Another
it's gonna be.
another CEO talking about raising
Yeah.
prices that we
Or
need $100 games, right?
or like Ibarra telling us that we should tip the
Oh,
developers.
I don't even want to get in there. Again, Yabara, you're living your best life.
Oh
Do
fuck,
your
man.
thing, bro. Do your thing. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't
Make
know,
ridiculous
man.
statements all you want, man. I don't care.
That guy
I laugh at him. I don't even care. I don't get upset.
Man,
about
he
his
is so
shit.
petty, dude.
Yeah, I don't care. I think it's funny. He's retired. He can go do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
to do.
it is funny. It is just
it's funny.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so the actual article for everybody who did not read the article, I'm not going to read the entire thing for VGC, but I'm going to read some of the quotes from him, so everybody gets the understanding of what he was saying. It was actually something we've talked about too recently over this conversation about development costs, obviously, and how everybody is saying AAA space is not sustainable. These development costs can't keep going up, and obviously. He here, if you read the article, actually parrots some of the stuff that we've been talking about, and what they can do. So, Karch cited Helldivers 2 as an example of the type of middle market game it would like to emulate. He told IGN that one of its upcoming titles, Space Marine 2, will retail for $70, but only because he's concerned audiences would see a cheaper price as emblematic of poor quality. So this is the other thing that developers are fighting against.
Yeah.
I don't
agree. Did they think that about Alan Wake? I don't think anybody thought Alan Wake 2 was going to be
right. Is anybody going to think about that about Hellblade 2?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think that some of this, again, is their own perception getting in the way of things a lot of the time, because again, Helldivers 2, Pal World, there's been a lot of proof, especially on the PC side of things, that proves that that's not the case. That proves that a lower price point actually encourages people to try your games more so than just, it's got to be worth it if it's $70. Again, I think Space Marine 2 is going to blow everybody's socks off. I think it's going to be that Gears of War filler while we wait on more Gears news. I can't wait to play Space Marine 2. It looks fantastic. And again, I don't have a problem with the $70 price point for it either, but I think this mentality is something that they have to fight against too, as we talk, as we go into the conversation about, what the AAA space can sustain and what it can't. Well, some of these publishers and these heads got to get over some of their own mindset here. Anyways, it goes on to say, I quote, "I think that as the games become more expensive to make, the $70 title is going to go the way of the dodo bird. I do," he said. I just don't think it's sustainable. Look, you remember the hype for Cyberpunk, which I think actually ultimately performed okay. But when the expectations are so high and so much money is put into one title, it's hugely risky for the company that's doing it. What if it fails? You remember what happened when Ubisoft a couple years ago, all their titles slipped out of the year, and then all of a sudden they were in an entirely different place. It's hard to recover from that. I think the market is going to shift development, which is not necessarily lower quality. Okay. I think that the market is going to shift to development, which is not necessarily lower quality, but there's going to be an emphasis on trying to find ways to reduce costs. With thousands of jobs cuts announced across the games industry in the past 18 months, Karch acknowledged that the AAA development is going through a major shift and claimed that past trends of sky-high budgets and lengthy development periods aren't sustainable. I think that there's going to be a real shortage of game content over the coming few years, he said. You've seen how many layoffs there have been. You've seen how many games have gotten killed. But we have a lot of good projects going on that I'm proud of and that I feel really, really strongly about. Great. All right. So again, he wasn't talking about prices going to $100 per game, even though some of this community claims they think they should. He's talking about finding other options in this AAA space. And we've talked about it, man. That's why I thought this was interesting. And again, I had to laugh at everybody blowing up about it without reading the article. But he's being real that these conversations, again, this has been a point of contention for people too. Is this just all made up, right? Is Spider-Man's $300 million budget actually, sustainable or not sustainable? Is that something that, again, they're talking about Spider-Man 3 being $450 million plus. And that's been an argument that's been ongoing, but we've always talked about this, map, that this is a coming to Jesus moment for the AAA space, that we thought, that this was legit conversations that might be being had. And we saw in the Insomniac leaks, they're thinking about breaking up potentially the future Spider-Man game into 3 parts, which I said, you know what? Ultimately, I wouldn't mind that per se. I like big games, right? And I like big open world games, and I like games like Dragon's Dogma 2 or Bethesda games, even Ubisoft games. I like that. Can I find value in a smaller game? Yeah, I can still find value in a smaller game that equals that open world. But for me, it's just an open world. But I think that if game developers were really looking at this and they needed to, say, break a game up into 1 or 2 or 3 parts, and they got back to a better cadence of releases because of that, right? So let's say part 1 and then part 2 within, a year and a half, 2 years, and then part 3, if there was a part 3, finishing out the trilogy, all in the same generation. I could actually see that working out, even though you could say, well, now I'm paying $150 for the full game. Sure, but if they're saying it's not sustainable, but the experience itself isn't bloated, like a lot of people are now saying Spider-Man 2 was definitely bloated, that it didn't need a lot of that content. They made a much more refined experience. And every time, you could play part 1 and say, you know what? Not really enjoying this. I'm not going to buy part 2 or part 3, right? You actually spend less. But let's say that it's a full experience. Each part is a full experience, but we are getting them every couple years. I think that might wind up being good. Or, Mav, or in addition to, they go back to smaller teams, right? Not these huge bloated teams. They use tools that are coming around right now, such as AI. I know nobody wants to hear it, but this is the reality. This is what businesses do. And this could actually be beneficial to us as consumers by getting better products. But they go back to smaller teams. They give them more tools to use. But these teams have to get creative with their time. They have to fix their dev pipelines, which I think have been broken for a long time. And they have to go back to the drawing board like they used to back in the 360 era when they were working with much inferior hardware and that was very hard to develop for. And every system was different from the other one. And it took all their time just to figure out how to program from each system, from Sony to Xbox to Nintendo. And they go back to those days where they actually had to flex some muscle and they actually had to flex some brains and they had to get really down and dirty with this stuff and come out with a quality product at the end of the day. And they cut down on the time frame that it's taking them to make these games, and so, which in turn lowers the budget. I think there's a lot of different things they could do here, but I like his idea that the $70 game, that the high price point actually will come down and that people will start looking at Helldivers 2 experience and saying, we can go make a game like that. Not that I want every game to be a co-op, PvE, multiplayer, shoot and blow up shit all the time. No, I don't want that. But I think that that can translate to single player games, that can translate to all different types of genres. But I just think I think this conversation is being had, and I think he's spot on with this. I think that eventually we'll see less content. We've talked about this, Matt. This is the golden age.
Yeah.
We've got more games than we know what to do with. Honestly, if I sat down and looked through the list of games over the past 3 years, I don't know. There'd probably be a couple hundred games that I want to play at least that I haven't touched yet. Okay. We are getting more games than we ever have in the history of video games. And I've even said at points, I love it. I'm not going to complain because these times don't always stick around. But maybe we are coming to an end of that. And maybe we are going to see a reduction in the amount of games coming out because people are getting lost. Games are getting lost in all this. And it's a huge risk, Mav. It's a huge risk nowadays. What do you think about this article here, brother?
Yeah, I think he's smart.
Yeah.
It sounds like stuff like we've been talking about for a while, that it's not when the games originally were going up to 70 and like everybody's just like, oh, it's needed, it's it's going to be, it's going to help, and inflation, and games haven't gone up in 20 years, or all these other kind of things that people would say. And I'm like, it's not necessarily going to help. It might actually cause people to buy less games. Like, and it's kind of been what's happened because like when these companies set these prices, they're setting the price for what they think is going to be the best return. If you could change the price to 70, 80, 90 and still get the same amount of sales, yeah, obviously you're going to do that, right? And so what you hope is you raise the prices and then consumers don't really adjust. They just keep buying, or maybe there's a little fall off at the beginning and then it tends to grow and then gets back to it. But what I think they're seeing is like, okay, that we can't just keep going up on the price of games, right? Because obviously it's going to cause less sales over time. So we have to be a little bit more creative. Now, a lot of the companies have done stuff with like the Ubisoft thing with like the Legendary Edition, all that kind of stuff, right? But that's not necessarily the bulk of who's buying the games either, right? So that's only going to have a monetary value to kind of help a little bit. So when it comes to what gives the best return, some of the biggest selling games this generation have been $60, right? They haven't been 70. Even the biggest games like Elden Ring and stuff like that, been 60. Nobody was saying, hey, this should have been 70 when it came out. Like, I'm sure Bandai Namco was pretty damn happy with how that game did. So the whole $70 argument was never like something like this has to happen. It was more about the companies hoping it would work, right? Because obviously it's just more money makes things easier on them. But they've been wasting so much fucking money behind the scenes over stupid stuff for so long that's what they should have been looking at from the get-go. We talked about this with all the layoffs, Pong. Like, and I kind of had a rant about it then. I'm like, these companies are just wasting so much development time, effort, and money on these projects that never see the light of day. They cancel all the time. And I know it's a normal part of the process, but it seemed to get out of hand a little bit with a lot of these things where you have games like Skull and Bones that goes into like seemingly 10 different iterations before it ever hits the store shelves, right? And then it turns into something that's like, okay, maybe people are kind of excited for it, but like, if you just came out with a game originally, you had originally planned to make, forever ago, and when the game was in a supposedly a great playable state back then, maybe that would have been fine. And guess what? You could have had another game that they would have made since then, right? So you like, they play with these ideas, they play with monetization schemes, they play with how to make the most money on these IPs and all these other kind of things instead of letting the creatives dictate a lot of times what they want to fucking make. And a lot of times that's what it comes down to. Now, setting the price is going to be different for a lot of different games. I'm not saying that some games shouldn't be $70, right? If that's what they deem it as, and they think that's what it's worth. But it's not necessarily the answer to fix the industry that a lot of people thought it was. And when this developer looks at stuff like this, I look at the kind of been trying to make that argument, like Helldivers 2. One of the reasons it's successful is the price point. It's also on PC day and date. Release more places at a more acceptable price. Guess what? Oh, wow, surprise. Maybe more people are going to try it because you're lowering the gate of access. You raise the gate of access. Guess what? There's less people. It's just, that's why some of the most popular games out there are fucking free. And that's why some of the franchises they put out there are made free to play and built on microtransactions and stuff. And I'm not saying that's necessarily the answer either. But like it has to make sense for the game and the IP instead of having the idea of the price and the monetization and then building the game around that.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times it's just the focus groups, it's the money guys, it's the people making these decisions on the board and all these other kind of things about dictating what these developers and creators can make, and how they price or what the structure that's built into the games to make the money. And guess what? They're not in touch with what the gamers are actually interested in buying or spending their money on.
Correct.
So stop wasting your money on canceled projects, testing the waters on monetization ideas for different things. Actually finish these damn things. let's see how they do. You never know. You know, how many times have we heard a developer say like, "Oh, we didn't expect this to do this good." You know what I mean? What if they would have canceled those before they ever saw the light of day because of like what the market research says, or what the focus group says, or what the board thinks based on this last trend in the industry, right? Start putting out these damn games. Yeah, be smarter with how you spend your money. Stop wasting time and money. And then, you know what? It'll probably help more than anything else. And you actually release these things. I understand there's always things you have to kind of write off, and, you know, it's lost. You know, it's part of business, right? But there's just way too much of it in video games, bro. From these big publishers, the stories we've heard from all these studios, like pitches that never get made, years of development spent on things that never see the light of day, and then they end up deciding to make something and then overcharge for it, microtransaction it to death, and then surprise when it fails, right? Because it's built around the wrong premise.
Right.
So, anyway.
Not being fun.
Yeah.
How about get back to that? Just make your game damn fun. Yeah. How about that? Not every game's gonna be successful. Not every game's gonna be good. But if you start with the premise of making your game fun instead of starting with the premise that we got to make this amount of money, things usually do turn. That's why I'm so happy that Helldivers 2 is succeeding the way it is. That's why I'm so happy that Pal World is succeeding the way it is, because that shows the big boys. This is why indies and double A's are so important to the industry. And that's kind of what he's talking about, is that even the triple A's might start scaling back to the double A level. Like but it shows how important it is just to make a damn fun game. That it doesn't have to always be pretentious bullshit. That it doesn't always have to be, as Mav said, monetized to all hell to make your money back. If you make a good game, gamers will come. Now, again, I do agree. Is the market saturated? Are there a lot of big games that take up, the masses' time, and the masses don't play even games like we did back during the 360 PS3 generation, where we tried a lot of stuff, where even my casual friends were going outside of the norm and they would ask me what games I'm playing and they would try. Kids nowadays are hooked on Fortnite or whatever the case may be, COD, and that's all they play, right? And they never branch out. But that's okay too. If we say we need less content, we need to stop making so many games. Again, I'm never going to say I have too many games, but I'm just saying right now, even if they stop making games for the next 5 years, I'd be fine with my library, because I don't have a problem going and playing older games, and I got a lot of games I need to play. But if they kind of cut back on that, they get back to higher quality, they fix the dev pipeline, come out with better quality games that don't have to be patched, but that are based on fun, and then use tools that are being created right now to help with QA, to help kind of smooth out the whole process, maybe cut down on the time frame it takes. Again, folks, we got the Mass Effect trilogy in one generation. That is ridiculous if you think about it in nowadays terms, right? But that should be kind of the thing. Like, that should be still possible in this day and age. Now, again, I'm not a dev. People tell me it's impossible because of all the work and time and effort that goes into it. But let's try to find a way to get back to that. Yeah. I would love to see something like that happen.
You talk about that, that era, right? The 360 era in those games. You had the Mass Effect entire trilogy, right?
Yeah.
You had Rockstar, who hasn't put out a game forever, actually do Rockstar Table Tennis. You had Midnight Club Los Angeles. You had GTA 4. You had GTA 5. And you also had Red Dead Redemption.
Yep.
All in one generation from Rockstar, right?
Yep.
And, then all of a sudden, it's just GTA 5 for a decade,
Yep.
It's
the entire Gears trilogy, had the entire BioShock trilogy.
Yeah.
It's some of the best games in history, all in the same generation, full trilogies.
Yeah.
And like you said, Rockstar making multiple new IP, putting them out there and being successful, right? Like I said, I'm not saying that they can all do this. I'm not saying that everything's going to work out perfect and that there's not reasons why it is the way it is. But if they are talking about cutting back, Mav, if they are talking about finding new ways to cut costs, then again, some of these things make sense. Like, let's
Yep.
get back to the basics again, right? I think we've made gaming really complicated, even though the tech itself supposedly is easier nowadays to develop on, and all these engines are so much better than they ever used to be. We had devs finishing engines while they were making games back in the 360 era. We had devs working on established engines that wouldn't do what they needed to do for the game, so they had to write code in the engines to make it work. Like, that's the stuff we used to have. Now we've got all these engines like Unreal Engine 5 that's supposed to be so streamlined and so easy. And they've got all this stuff for every aspect of game making. And yet, for some reason, it's now more complicated than ever before. And that part is what gets me. Like, again, I'm not in it, so maybe I'm missing a lot of pieces, but
Yeah.
I think there's ways that we can get back to that. I saw Sin put in there, that wouldn't be surprised to see Rockstar and GTA come out at $90 for the base. Yeah, no, I've said that for a while. I said 100.
Yeah,
I said that
it'll sell no matter what, right?
Yeah, if the game is as big as what we've been told, and that they have spent as much as they have spent, GTA has such a addict base that they would be the ones, and Strauss would be the CEO, to push that boundary.
Yeah.
And to say, our game is worth it. You all know you want to play it, so you're going to pay. And I would not doubt that they do test the waters between those price points. I said 100 for the base. I'm just saying. And could they be the first ones to actually sell early access for an extra $30 without anything else bonus wise?
Right.
Yes, they could be, because people will pay for it. So GTA is going to be interesting. It is definitely an exception and not a rule. And I don't even know if Call of Duty per se could pull off that, even with as popular as it is. GTA really stands alone on its own as a game and a franchise that could try something like that and have it succeed without backlash. Would there be talk? Would there be conversations? Of course there would be. But ultimately, would people, just be giving up the credit card while swearing and while, saying, I can't believe I'm fucking doing this right now? Yes. Yeah. But they'd still give up their credit card to do it. I don't know, man. It's an interesting time. Like I said, that's why this is all fascinating to me. That's why the industry just continues to evolve and things are going to change. It's not going to be the same.
I like
it's changing
subscriptions because it kind of
it does.
I
agree. And again, I don't have a problem canceling subscriptions. I don't have a problem with, I'm not using the subscription cancel. I know some people do. That's why I don't believe in the subscription fatigue. I think if the entertainment is worth it and you're offering enough value, that subscription services will stick around and that people will stay subscribed to your subscription service. Now, again, what that is for everybody is different, but if you find that sweet spot, again, people have complained how many times about Netflix raising their prices, and yet they're again, it's the same pattern every time. Do some people cancel? Absolutely. Some people stand on principle and say, nope, I'm not paying this. Absolutely. There is a group, but is that group big enough to actually hurt the bottom line with the price increase? No, it's not. That's why Netflix keeps doing it. And again, it is what it is. We are in that era. They will get to a breaking point and then they will scale back. We'll see the same thing that happened with cable. Eventually everything, people will get down to just a couple that they really enjoy. Some will die off, some will combine and merge together. But ultimately, are subscriptions here to stay? Yes. And I don't believe subscription fatigue is a thing. I think that people will just make conscious decisions and get better at moving their subscriptions around within a budget, right? And this month I want to be here.
And I think some of those are going to start to become consolidated to where you're getting more one. Yeah.
Yes. Yep, merging together and becoming bigger entities, right? Subscription services. Yep.
We have some super chats to get to.
Get them, brother.
Earlier, General Spartan hit us with a member for 9 months. Says the Ultimate Edition after taxes in IL is $142.66. which game is that? We were talking. Star Wars Outlaw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. So 142.66. Lotus Esprit hit us with a $10 super sticker. Again, Lotus, you are absolutely super appreciated.
Yes.
Lotus then hit us with another $5 super sticker saying, "Good job, great job to you too, Lotus. Appreciate you being here, bro, and everybody in the chat. You guys are absolutely amazing, and thank you for the support that you show. Again, like Pong said earlier, never expected and just always appreciated.
Yep, 1000%.
And choo choo, motherfuckers.
Yeah, choo choo, motherfuckers. Just two small little things. Again, next week, Deep Silver announced today that Warhorse, the dev team Warhorse, which for those of you that know, created Kingdom Come Deliverance, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever it's been now. And again, I've said it all along. If it wasn't for the frame rate, that game is good on. It's a great game. I'm planning on picking it up again on PC. I decided, but
it's usually on sale for like $3.
Yeah, it's always on sale. It's on sale on PC right now for the Royal Edition with all the DLC for $5. You can get it. Anyways, they announced next week, Thursday, April the 18th, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that'll be 1 o'clock Central time, 2 p.m. Eastern time next week. New game reveal next week from Warhorse. And obviously a lot of people are assuming it'll probably be Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. They've sold like 9 million copies of that game, which for that game as a AA RPG with, especially on console, performance issues is incredible. It's got a rabid fan base. It's got a cult-like fan base attached to it. Again, it is a really cool game. They are set to announce their new game, so everybody get hyped for that. It's going to be good. I would love to finally get a current gen patch from them, but I don't think it's going to happen. But man, anyways, and then last thing I was going to bring up here real quick, special game shout out that kind of flew under the radar. I posted in our DMs earlier this week. I just saw, who was it? Brett Bingham, I think, just said Sega should bring back, what did he say? Hold on. Yeah, we need Sega to bring back full auto. Listen, there was a game that has been out on PC. I didn't know about it. And then I saw they dropped it. It became available on Xbox this week. And I want you guys to go check this out. I'll drop the link in the chat for those of you that want to check it out. You guys got to check this out. It's called Trail Out. It's a $30 game. But this game, games like Split Second, Twisted Metal, Road Rash, right? All these types of games rolled into one. That's what Trail Out is. And it actually, like, pretty damn decent looking for a $30 game. And this includes a DLC that was already released on PC. It's like 5 DLC packs with it or whatever else. So I'll drop the link. Let me see if I can find the trailer here. Yeah, here's the trailer. But you guys should go check this out because it looks. No, that was the old trailer. I'll try to find a new one here and drop it in there. But it looks super dope. So if you guys have been looking for a car game, they got your. I'm trying to think of what game was it, Mav? What game was it where you crashed and your character would go flying out of the car? What game was that?
Flat Out.
Flat Out. It's got that mechanic to it, so your character goes flying out. They've got go-kart racing. They've got stunt racing. They've got games like, run your car into an obstacle, and then your guy goes flying out. You got to hit a dartboard. Like they've got everything in this game. And again, for $30, I'm almost thinking about checking it out because the trailer looks so good that I was like, you know what? For $30, let's go check this out. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, here it is. Here's the YouTube. So I'll share the YouTube link so you guys can check out check it out. Share, copy. There we go. Let's get back to us. All right. So yeah, go check out Trail Out. Looks damn cool, and I'm thinking about playing it. There you go. There's a link. Great episode, everybody. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Mav, you didn't have any more topics you want to get into it all?
No, man. I think we covered the gamut, bro.
Yeah, we did. We did a good job tonight, brother. We got through it. So appreciate all of you for joining us on another episode of PM and the PM, a great Thursday night. Again, love you all. Thank you for all dropping in here and listening to two guys just bullshit about this industry, man, and have a good time. So Mav, tomorrow night, Xbox Ultimate, Friday night, fam. What else? Anything else coming up?
We got that. We should have FSP on Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern time, and then next week after that, that'll probably be the last show because we'll be going out of town. But yeah, it'd be hopefully we get some cool news like this weekend or something. So some fun things to talk about tomorrow or Monday. But yeah, it was a fun show, man. Thanks for everything you do here, Pong. Chat, you guys rock as always. Thanks for all the support and watching our content here on the channel. What you got going on, Pong?
The huge man. Appreciate you, brother, for all that you do. And again, the tough week still being here, man. Appreciate it. And obviously, again, all love to you and Kate and the entire family and to her dad. Continued prayers. Again, I know you guys are going to fly out there and hopefully see them next week. That's great. And I'm glad things are getting better. But all love to you guys. Again, tough to be going through that. Real life hits, man, sometimes. So continued thoughts for you. And then, of course, you guys know the drill. Pong Soul on X, formerly known as Twitter. Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Steam, Pong Soul on Epic's Game Store, Pong Soul on GOG. I don't care. You can find me everywhere, Pong Soul. And then tomorrow night, I will be there for Xbox Ultimate, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. The family gets together. We laugh a lot. We talk a lot. We have a great time. Never know what's going to be said. I can't wait to get to the topics tomorrow night and hear other people's perspectives on all this stuff. And maybe something else will happen on Friday. Sometimes that does work out too. So, but Xbox Ultimate, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, right here on the Fun Speculation Network. And then, of course, Saturday morning, it's going to be Living Split. Oh my God. Really? Right in the middle of it. Excuse me. Living Split Screen, Saturday morning. Be there. Set the alarms. My brother from another, Steel Rain, and I go live, raw and uncut, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Get ready. 3+ hours. Hell, it's 4+ hours now. Just buckle up. Him and I are going to BS the whole morning away into the afternoon. We'll get you ready. We're going to have great conversations. We'll get the chat involved into it. Join us. Living Split Screen. Split Screen's all one word. And then, of course, Saturday night is the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel. The best way to end your Saturday night. With Blam, with Fuzzy, with myself, and usually a couple guests. I don't think he's announced guests this week, but we will be there for sure. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Have us on in the background while you're gaming. Cool conversations on a Saturday night over at the Shop Podcast. Next week, it starts all over again. Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Boomstick is the man. 5 days a week, but Tuesdays, All Good Things Green, Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Be there for that. And then, of course, back here, God willing, for another episode of PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM on Thursday night. Listen, y'all, sun's out, shades on. Be safe out there. It's golden age of gaming, everybody. Just keep playing games, man. Again, this discourse out here, most of it is just bullshit. If you're having a good time with it, cool. But if you just want to play games, you just want to talk about games, share that stuff out. That's what I've been doing. I've been sharing a ton of screenshots from Dragon's Dogma 2. Sometimes they get a lot of traction. Sometimes they don't. I don't care. I'm sharing them out there because I want to talk about games. I want to show that I'm playing something really cool right now. So please keep enjoying those games because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Play what you love what you play, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Get us out of here, brother.
Peace out, everybody.